Christmas is just around the corner, and Santa is ready to hang loose for a laid-back holiday in the islands. BYU got some time away from the Utah snow, and the fans here in Hawaii, holiday cheer going to be drowned out by cheering at Aloha Stadium. Hawaii fans gathered early this morning, getting ready to watch the Warriors play their biggest rival. And today we'll all get a close look at Lelie, one of the game's most exciting and talented receivers. Senior Brandon Dolman, in his first full year of starting, leads the country's best offense. First-year head coach Gary Croton hopes to close out a perfect regular season for the Cougars.
One more time, remember this. You're playing against Hawaii now. Concentrate on them. Don't think about anything else. One drive, one play, boom, every time. That's like right down the field. Don't worry about the scoreboard. Expect a lot of energy. Expect a lot of energy early. All right, fight through it. Pound it, be physical now. Let's get this win. Let's go. Come on.
Aloha, and welcome to yet another picture-perfect day on the island of Oahu. It's the last season-ending sellout in 10 years here at Aloha Stadium. In 1991, Notre Dame came in to close out the season. You cannot get a ticket to this one either. BYU and Hawaii have been bitter rivals. They haven't played, though, in 3 years, and Warrior fans would love to spoil that perfect season that the Cougars have had so far. Welcome inside a loud Aloha Stadium. Pam Ward along with Dean Blevins. BYU today, though, missing its most important cog of the offense. Doak Walker Award winner Luke Staley broke his leg last week.
Well, that means quarterback Brandon Dolman, who's a star, loses his go-to guy. It's sort of like Steve Young in his prime losing Jerry Rice. So the pressure goes more to the quarterback. And I think that without the running back, it hurts your pass game. The option game, he's looking there. Hey, where's Luke Staley? He's on crutches. He's not there. And the quarterback becomes more of a tailback now in this offense. And to compensate for this, I think they'll be creative and go to Reno Mahe, a wide receiver, running the football some.
Hey, Brandon Dolman, after Luke Staley, he is the second leading rusher on this team, but Luke got over 1,500 yards on the ground. This guy for Hawaii, don't take your eyes off of number 8, the very talented junior receiver, Lelie, chewed up Fresno State about 6 weeks ago. The crowd here in Hawaii is ready to go. We'll be right back with BYU and Hawaii. Welcome back to Aloha Stadium, where Brigham Young takes on Hawaii. 11 a.m. local kickoff, and we are ready to go. Hawaii won the toss. They received the opening kickoff for the 12th time this season in 12 games. BYU and their road whites, Aaron Edmonds getting ready to kick off a very windy day. And Chad Owens, leading the country in kickoff returns, gets it at his 5. Good block, springs him on the right side. And Owens finally shoved out of bounds at the 32. What a way to start for Chad Owens. You see, is 4th in the NCAA. Hawaii #1 as a team in kickoff returns. Darius Wilson hit him out of bounds, Dean, but not before he got 64 yards.
Well, June Jones calls him the best he's ever seen. He had an opening, and he just sprinted. I mean, it was a straight ahead dash. And what a start.
Exactly what Hawaii ordered. They start from their own 32. Nick Rolovich. Not very nimble, but nimble enough to get it off and complete it to Shannon Harris, a senior from Culver City, California. That's a 9-yard gain. Let's take a look at these starting lineups. Nick Rolovich took over for the injured Timmy Chang in week 4. The senior has won 7 of 8 starts this season, thrown for over 1,000 yards in his last 2 games. Just a junior, Lelie has already broken Walter Murray's school record for career receiving yards. Size, speed, great hands, and a terrific leaper. You can't ask for much more than that. The running back is Thero Mitchell. They will not use the running back very often today. 2nd and 1. Rolovich, play action, touchdown! Shannon Harris gets the score. 2 plays and a touchdown for the Warriors.
Wow. That's all you can say. That's the type of game we think we're going to have today.
And both of these teams score a lot of points. Both of these defenses give up a lot of points. So, as Dean mentioned, this could be the start of a trend. Justin Ayat in for the extra point. And the Warriors, after the great kickoff return from Chad Owens, they get a couple of passes and the touchdown. Shannon Harris taking it in 23 yards for the score. The Warriors up early.
The run and shoot puts a lot of pressure on everyone. The secondary can easily be confused. That's what happens here. Safety out of position, wide open, and that is easy. So all it takes is 23 seconds. Rolo, his nickname, the quarterback, is terrific at finding the receivers. So much better than he was last year when he was named the starter and only started 3 games. He didn't understand this sophisticated offense enough to be as successful as he is now.
He certainly is successful. He now has 13 touchdown passes and just 2 interceptions in his last 2 games plus 1 drive. And there is that scoring drive, such as it is, with Shannon Harris taking it home. Rolovich has 27 touchdown passes on the season for Shannon Harris. That is his 6th touchdown catch of the year. And we just had a kickoff a little while ago, and now it's Hawaii's turn. It's Justin Ayat, the freshman from right here on the island of Oahu, kicking off. And BYU's offense leading the country in total offense and points per game. They will get the ball shortly.
Turnovers, special teams, critical today.
And it's an offside kick, and Hawaii recovers it. But flags are down.
Well, that may go to BYU. I thought it was a legal kick. It was, but there was movement past the line on the kickoff team. What a killer of a penalty. Gary Croton says, yeah, we're only 44 yards away from tying this thing.
And what about June Jones? Talk about going for the jugular right away with that onside kick.
No, it is Hawaii's ball. Thought that was a legal kick.
It's a 5-yard penalty. We'll re-kick.
Okay,
totally confused.
Right, because of the penalty, they will have to re-kick it.
Totally confused.
This is a WAC team of officials. Frank White is our referee. The Hawaii offense sprinting onto the field. They're ready to go as the officials sorted out.
Man, that's 26 seconds of clock, Pam, that's gone off. You think we're going to have an exciting afternoon?
We've had more action in 26 seconds than some games seem to have in a quarter. So there will be a re-kick after the penalty. It was an illegal procedure penalty on the kick team on Hawaii, so Justin Ayat and company will have to go out and do it again. Again, these two teams have played 25 times previously, BYU winning 18 times. The Cougars have won 6 straight overall, including a 31-9 win 3 years ago in Provo. Mike Rigel, like last time, is back deep. And Ayat will try it again. Do you go for 2 in a row?
Hey, I was just about to say, no one's expecting it now. So, June Jones, I dare you.
This one is a little squibber taken by Rigel at his 12. Runs into his own man and then is taken for a ride. So BYU gets it for the first time. Here's the third member of our team, Heather Cox.
Pam, a huge concern and obviously a very validated concern for BYU after being snubbed by the BCS this week before their regular season finale was to find focus and to be able to finish in order to keep that undefeated season alive. Well, after practice on Thursday, Gary Croton inspired his team by reminding them that it was exactly a year ago this weekend that he walked into the BYU offices for the very first time. Said it was a room filled with dejection at 6-6. He said that day, what do you guys want? 1 year later, BYU is exactly where he told Croton he wanted to be. But Croton was quick to remind them, hey, we're not finished yet. Obviously, they've lost a little bit of that focus.
All right, thanks, Heather. And that's Reno Mahe. You talked about him in the open, Dean, the little wide receiver, the senior, picking up 4 yards on the very first play. And we're used to seeing, of course, BYU give it to Luke Staley on the first play, but it's totally different today.
Well, we mentioned to him just a few minutes ago, so they get him balls like that. They get him in the backfield. They'll throw the vertical routes to it. Wouldn't be surprised if he touches the ball some 12 to 15 times today.
Got 4 yards on that first down. Doman out of the shotgun with 3 receivers. Looking for Mahe again, who can't hold on. Let's take a look at the BYU starting lineups on offense. Brandon Doman is 14-0 as BYU starting quarterback going back to last season. He has 2 300-yard passing games this year and 2 100-yard rushing games as well. With Luke Staley sidelined, Mahe, already BYU's most dangerous receiver, will be looked on to make big plays on the ground. Cougar tight ends also have figured big in this offense. Spencer Need gets the start. We'll see Doug Jolly later.
Yeah, keep an eye on 86 White. That is Jolly that you mentioned. 3rd and 6, BYU's converted 44% of its third downs, leading the Mountain West Conference. Too much time. Mahe gets it near the first down marker. And from where the official is standing, that will be a BYU first down. Robert Grant with the hit. BYU offensive line, there's some big uns there. Jason Sukanik and Dustin Reichert both were named first team All Mountain West players this year. A Hawaii D-line, Mike Yasawa, the lone senior, he's been battling through shoulder injuries and has been voted the team's most inspirational player. All right, here we go with Reno Mahe right there. So he's been thrown the ball 3 times already.
On first down, Doman just gets it off in time, looking for Mahe again. That's incomplete. So he's continuing to go to number 20. Let's take a look at the linebackers for Hawaii. They're kind of banged up. Keani Alapa gets the start over Pisatino Isamoa, who should play some after missing the last 3 games with a stress fracture in his leg. And his coaches say that Nate Jackson is the quintessential free safety, though undersized at 5'10", 163 pounds. The senior from right here on Oahu hits everything in sight and hits it with relish. 2nd and 10. And Doman under center this time.
Blitz.
And he gives it to Ned Stearns, and the halfback gets a yard. And look who's in on the tackle, Nate Jackson.
Nate Jackson from his safety position smells this one and gets it. You know, nothing against Stearns. Luke Staley pops that ball out to the left. He makes at least 10 yards on that. So not being critical of Stearns, but being complimentary to the guy who's not here. Nate
Jackson told us that this is one of the biggest games in Hawaii history. He really wants to beat BYU. 3rd and 9. Doman for Rigel, incomplete. Great hit by Hiram Peters.
Now remember, this is a secondary at Hawaii that sees this type of offense every day. And although their numbers aren't spectacular on the season, they're ready for this game. And I think BYU has to throw that 3rd down ball past the sticks. That one wouldn't have been a first down, Pam, even if it had been caught.
But now it is Aaron Edmonds' turn to punt. He had the worst game of his career last week at Mississippi State. 4 punts, only a 25.2 average. And the very dangerous Chad Owens, who we saw return the opening kickoff, is back to receive. Owens has to run up for it. Gets it at his 26. He's in the clear again. 1 block away from the score. He gets it. Chad Owens with the touchdown. But flags are down on the play.
Celebration penalty. Touchdown will remain.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the receiving team. Will be 50 on penalty. The touchdown is good.
That is a 74-yard punt return for a touchdown for Chad Owens. The longest of his career and his first touchdown as a punt returner. He also returned a kickoff for a touchdown earlier in the season, a 100-yarder against Air Force on November the 23rd. And the celebration penalty will push the extra point back. Will have to be a 35-yard make for Justin Ayotte. It doesn't matter. Ayotte pounds it through. That's the 5th punt return for a touchdown, the 5th longest in Hawaii history.
North and south make 2 guys miss you, and then the God-given talent of being able to run. He catches it. A lot of players would have let that ball hit the ground. Great moves, bad tackling, and then a sprinter. And that's why June Jones calls him the best return man he's ever seen.
And he's shown it twice today with this punt return for the touchdown. He also had the long kickoff return that set up the first touchdown. Hawaii is up 14-0.
First return touchdown since
1987 against BYU. Last time was when they played New Mexico in 1987. So it's been 14 years since someone has scored on a punt return against the Cougars.
My math's not really great, but I think it's 2 minutes, 22 seconds, 14 points. Wow.
I think it's yeah, something like that. How about that, huh? Just a little over.
Well, we digress
2 minutes.
Plays. Yeah, we don't use math. 2:18.
2:18, thank you. That's why we have Bill Garrity with us.
We didn't need him. I saw the mistake. No.
Wow, and our stats guy, Tony Britt, is going to be busy. We've got numbers flying everywhere. It's 14-0 already. And Rigel takes it out a couple of yards deep in his end zone. And he gets into the clear a little bit, but is dragged down just over the 25-yard line. Now, the offenses and the defenses for both teams similar in many respects, not in the schemes, but in their numbers. Hawaii being number 12 in the country offensively.
Right, they're 12 versus 95. Then you come down to defense. You've got number 85 defense, Hawaii, versus number 1. That's why we say a scoring fest.
Hawaii, the defense, averaging, well, they give up about 25 points a game. BYU on average scores about 47 points a game.
What's BYU thinking? You know, no Luke Staley in the huddle, down 14 points. What are you made of?
Hawaii showing blitz. They come. Doman nowhere to go, but improvising to Mahe, who can't come up with it. It was tipped by Robert Grant.
Doman's best when he's on the move like that. And it was a busted play, or a play that he had to run out of the pocket, so his man just tries to find an open area, and even Reno Mahe can't find an open area and hold on to it. The first thing that jumps out at you in this matchup is the defense is playing great. They're all over the receivers.
Look at Doman's numbers on the season. 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He had 3 of them last week against Mississippi State. An escape win. They won on a last-second field goal. And there's a little improv to Mahe. And he picks up a few before he is tackled. Nate Jackson was there.
You've got a new guy in the backfield in Mahe here, almost a fumble because he doesn't catch a lot of, he doesn't get a lot of runs right here. Look at it.
He was waiting for Dustin Reichert, the big 6'7" tackle, to get in front of him. And Nate Jackson again in on the tackle. It's 3rd and 3 after that 7-yard gain for BYU. Plenty of time for Doman, and Andrew Ord can't come up with it. There were 4 black shirts in the area, and BYU has to punt again.
Well, zone coverage. And there's Gary Croton saying, guys, we've got to be smarter. Doman threw it into double, maybe triple coverage on that one. And there's the man who did it a moment ago and did it on the opening kickoff.
Chad Owens, Matt Payne is in to punt. We talked about Edmonds struggling, and now Matt Payne, the place kicker and backup punter, is going to give it a shot. The last punt for Edmonds was only 36 yards. Edmonds in the locker room. We're checking on why. So Payne gets off the skyscraper. Owens drops it.
Well, that ball was recovered late. That might be BYU. I think it is.
BYU pointing that way, and so are the officials. So Owens muffs the punt, and the Cougars get a break.
What a wonderful punt that was. But that ball, I don't know the distance yet, but the hang time was over 4 seconds. The sure-handed receiver may have missed it because of the sun in his eyes, but probably because of the swirling winds.
That was Brady Papinga who came up with the fumble recovery, Dean.
You know, I think that he had his eye on the ball. He was concentrating. I think it was just a matter of the wind, because we have the possibility of gusts up to over 30 miles an hour.
That was a great play by Papinga just to keep the ball alive. And the trade winds are blowing in as you get a look at Papinga. Good job by him to get in quickly on Owens. So it's now 1st and 10 for BYU. It's a reverse to Andrew Ord, the receiver.
Touchdown.
Flags are down as he scores. We might have a penalty on Dustin Reichert for an illegal block. And it is a hold against Reichert. We saw him, as the play developed, just take down an Hawaii defender. Let's listen to Frank White.
Holding on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat, first down.
So Reichert shaking his head, but that pushes the ball back. Now 1st and 13 for the Cougars.
Look at this number. Red zone, that is unbelievable. 55 out of 60. That's where they are now.
7 on the game, -10 on the penalty, gives us a 1st and 13. Completed to Soren Halliday, who does not get much. Chris Brown, the middle linebacker, who's one of many banged-up players for Hawaii, coming in on the tackle.
What you have is a game of checkers here. You have BYU coach Gary Croton being able on the sideline to understand what's happening with Hawaii defensively. So he's countering that, and they're having some success here despite that penalty.
Picked up 3 on that play, so it's 2nd and 10 for BYU. A couple of tight ends now in for the Cougars. Mahe out of the backfield. A nice block, but he is corralled at the 14 again by Chris Brown, the middle linebacker.
Well, that play looked like it had the potential to really be big. Reichert slipped past a couple of defenders. He should have picked one of them off, and so Mahe didn't have the gap.
So 3rd and 4 as Mahe heads back to the sidelines. Doman with Jackson in pursuit. He stripped him. The ball is loose, and BYU will hold on to possession as Doman was able to get it near the sidelines. It's out of bounds.
What a play by Nate Jackson. I mean, this guy comes on a safety blitz. Watch Nate Jackson down here from the left side. Runs through the potential block there, the intended block by Stearns, slaps the ball out. And boy, this guy's a character, Pam. Nate Jackson is, as I like to say, a different breed of cat.
He certainly is. The flying Hawaiian, as Nate signals a timeout for Hawaii. Aaron Edmonds will be back in to punt after a 28-yard loss on that play. Thanks in most part to the senior from Hawaii, Nate Jackson. They're up by 2 touchdowns.
We're here to see how the new Dremel
of the island of Oahu. Doesn't get much more pretty than that. They've had a big surfing competition up there. All these guys in like 15-foot waves, 20-foot waves. Good stuff.
I came in second. The winner got 30,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You got
Did you not come out and
a
see that?
handshake and a cup of coffee? Is that what
That's
you got? We are further
and a Speedo.
south. Oh, I don't want to know about that.
I don't either.
Aaron Edmonds is back in the punt. That was only the 8th time all season that BYU has failed to score in the red zone. They're now 58 of 66. Unbelievable. Edmonds, coffin corner, but it's way short. Kicking away from Owens. And they will mark it at the 17. So turned out to be a pretty good punt after all. Coming up tomorrow night on ESPN, College Game Day's Bowl Selection Special. The best way to get ready for bowl season. Find out all the bowl matchups. Reese Davis, Rod Gilmore, and Mark May. Catch it tomorrow night at 6 Eastern Time on ESPN.
All right, folks, drop your remote. We've got a game here. We've got BYU undefeated and on the ropes early.
And Hawaii, with 8 wins, 9 if they win today, will not go to a bowl. And you will see there are many teams with fewer wins who will.
31 of them.
So all the guys telling us this is their bowl today. Rolovich kind of slings it out to the right side and hits Craig Stutzmann. Let's bring that graphic back, Dean, just to take a look at all of the numbers.
Well, there you see the numbers that 5-win teams won, 6-win teams 9, 7, 12. If you run through all of the teams and you use the 9 wins from this Hawaii team, 30 teams will not have as many wins as this team is if they win and they don't go to a bowl. They'd only travel about 100 people. That's the problem.
Which is the problem with the bowl system. It's not rewarded on merit. That pass is dropped by Shannon Harris. He was able to get one hand on it from Rolovich, so 3rd down upcoming for the Warriors. There used to be 2 bowl games here in Hawaii, the Oahu Bowl and the Aloha Bowl. They both went away this year. One has been relocated to Seattle. The other one was supposed to go to San Francisco, but fell through because of a lack of sponsorship. Trying to get a bowl back. See the Warrior here.
Well, obviously, I was joking about the 100 people, but when they had the Aloha Bowl here, you could tell by this
they
crowd.
Sold out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful crowd.
Right.
You can't travel.
And Hawaii played here a couple years ago in a postseason bowl in this stadium. They sold it out. And it's a tough travel. You're 5 hours from California. Rolovich up top looking, and it's intercepted. A great over-the-shoulder pick by Aaron Francisco, a native Hawaiian. No fumble. The officials rule that he is down. And further upfield, we have a scuffle going on between Justin Enna and one of the linemen for Hawaii, Vince Manawai. So these 2 teams, no love lost between them.
But great interception. 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions is all Rolo has. This is a poorly thrown ball. Could once again, Pam, been because of the wind. Rolo's main strength, June Jones told us, is his deep ball.
That's the 2nd interception of the season for Aaron Francisco, a freshman from Hawaii. We saw his parents at practice the other day watching their son. Reno Mahe again out of the backfield, and he loses yardage. Let's go back to Reese Davis in the studio. Reese?
Pam, the 1AA quarterfinal, Sam Houston State, Montana. This is Sam Houston with the ball. This is Josh McCown of the passing McCown family, picked off by Johnny Peoples, of course, Josh's brothers, Luke McCown at La Tech, and Randy McCown, former Texas A&M quarterback. Montana appears ready to roll on, 42-16. And we'll get the winner of this game, Maine and Northern Iowa. What a week it could be for Northern Iowa. You know, they beat Iowa in basketball earlier this week.
Thank you very much, Reese. With those playoffs underway, Charlie Peterson now in to play quarterback, and a double reverse. That's Mike Rigel. Nate Jackson misses him, and he is shoved out of bounds around the 40-yard line. That's a 9-yard gain. Doman on the sidelines for that one. So Gary Croton, known for his trickeration, as Reese Davis would say, and that was double. How about triple trickeration? You got they got double reverse, and Charlie Peterson and not Doman playing quarterback, and Peterson staying in there.
Peterson's really good, but we've got to check on the problem with Doman.
Peterson is a senior from South Jordan, Utah. He has thrown 34 passes this season, completing 77% of them. 3rd and 3. Peterson looking for his big tight end and finding him for a first down. That is Spencer Need, the junior from Idaho.
Well, nice play by Peterson, and that was a good call.
Here are Peterson's numbers, and he actually, last year, Brandon Doman was a 3rd-string quarterback, and Peterson was ahead of him on the depth chart, but because of injuries to Peterson and the 1st-string quarterback, Brett Engelman, Doman got his chance.
Doman doesn't look hurt. I think Croton might be just trying to change the pace of the game, and it looks like it might be working.
Peterson gets his pass knocked right back in his face by Travis LeBoy. Travis LeBoy is playing with a sprained left ankle and a sprained right shoulder, and he is the guy that defensive coordinator Kevin Lempa told us to look out for. Says he really loves this guy in his defense. He's got a lot of speed.
Well, I asked him to name the top 3 players, and number 1 was this player, LeBoy. Terrific explosion off the ball.
Leads the team in tackles for loss with 11. He's a sophomore from San Rafael, California. 2nd and 10 after the great play by LeBoy. Peterson out of the shotgun for the first time, and he keeps it. Gets a nice little seam and is close to the first down. Reno Mahe, number 20, the guy that saw the ball most of the first couple of series for BYU, has been taken to the locker room to be checked out as you see him retreating.
This team is down 14-0. Reno Mahe, one of the best players now, walking in. Luke Staley crutches, and Brandon Doman on the sideline.
So you're talking about their 3 best weapons on offense on the sidelines for one reason or another. A measurement for first down. And they are that short. Gary Croton coming over from the Chicago Bears. He was the offensive coordinator there for a couple of years and has just re-energized this program in one of the most intricate playbooks ever. And has done a terrific job with this BYU team. Can't do any better than being unbeaten. 3rd and a very short yard.
Tight end is the fullback.
Need. They give it up to Stearns, and he loses a couple of inches. And Pisatino Isamoa in on the stop, and this is where you really, really miss Luke Staley.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The blocking up front, they got crunched by the defensive line. A good push by the defensive line. Look at the defensive end coming in. But still, you've got to think Luke Staley would be a factor in this ball game.
Boy, Robert Grant just came in and bowled over Spencer Need, the lead blocker.
This is a loud stadium, louder than you might expect for this size. It will be a problem for an audible.
72% of the time, BYU is converted on 4th down. Stearns, with second effort, looks like he has it. Great second effort by Stearns. Came into this game with only 36 carries on the season, and they are signaling first down.
Well, that's a nice job out there by Dustin Reichert, 79. Look at him pulling. His man went down, so if your man goes down, you've taken care of him. Need with a good block there. Stearns, that looked like kind of a scrum, and he is a member of the rugby team, so he was at home on that run.
He said there was a time last season where he played on a Thursday playing football, got on a plane, and played a couple of days later for the rugby team. He loves that stuff. He looked tough on that one. 1st and 10. Peterson still the quarterback. Plenty of time. Good coverage downfield, and that is a coverage sack. Houston Ala, the sophomore from Makaha, Oahu, with the sack.
You know, Pam, you called it. It was a coverage sack, but there was a man open, and he just couldn't find him.
That's
and
Doug Jolly, the tight end.
Doug Jolly,
oh,
wide
my
open.
goodness. And that's the situation. If Brandon Doman was a quarterback, Doman seems to be able to find his guys, and Peterson not as experienced, and Jolly was frustrated. It's 2nd and 13. Rosala's 2nd sack of the season, by the way. Little rollout. Peterson sidearms it towards Halliday, but it's incomplete.
This is a fast defense, and it's really fast on turf. BYU is, you know, they play on a grass field, and although they're fast, they're not nearly as fast as this Hawaii team. And I think you can see a speed difference here.
And this is the first game on artificial turf for Brigham Young all season. 3rd and 13.
Well, Pam, it's a different game. My team's played on turf almost all the time, and when you went to the grass, I don't know, it was just a different game. We always thought it was slower, and we weren't as comfortable on it.
BYU certainly does not look comfortable so far in this game, down 14-0. BYU 2 of 6 on 3rd down so far today. Peterson retreating, looking for Stearns, who was open, but it's too high. We're wondering about Brandon Doman and Reno Mahe. That's why Heather Cox is on the field for us. Heather?
Pam, a couple of updates for you. Brandon Doman not in because of coach's decision. He is healthy. Reno Mahe in the locker room. He has a hip pointer, is being evaluated. It is likely that he'll return, but right now BYU without 3 of their offensive starters, including Lelie.
Wow, Heather, that's an interesting decision by Croton. We see him change things up a lot, but putting Doman on the sidelines, totally unexpected. Matt Payne was 2 for 2 last week, including a 25-yarder at the final gun to beat Mississippi State. This is a 44-yarder, and Payne gets it. So Matt Payne helps out BYU, struggling a little bit in this first quarter. They're down 14-3.
To walk among legends. The Heisman Trophy presentation presented by Wendy's tonight at 7 on ESPN.
ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by Dremel. Dremel.com can help you with lots of projects, even finding the perfect holiday gift. Dremel.
Nice shot of Waikiki Beach and some of the fowl, the birds that are hanging out, the parrots, and Brandon Doman and Reno Mahe right now hanging out. Mahe with that hip pointer back from the locker room, and Doman replaced by Charlie Peterson on the last drive that culminated with Matt Payne's 44-yard field goal.
Not unusual to see those 2 guys on the sideline sitting together. What's unusual, of course, is they won't go back out when their team gets the ball.
There's a little squibber. Owens gets it about 4 yards deep in the end zone, and he's in trouble at the 10. Good coverage that time, good strategy with that kick, as Owens has hurt them with a couple of big plays. Speaking of which, here they are in the first quarter. Return, gets it. That's with Chad Owens with the long kickoff return that set up the first touchdown. Shannon Harris with the catch, and now Owens with a 74-yard punt return. The point after made it 14-0 in favor of the Warriors. Now, for those of you who were with us last week, Mississippi State had a 21-7 lead on BYU in the first half, and Brigham Young came back to win that game. So they have been down by 2 touchdowns as recently as last week. Rolovich, a big out, and it is through the hands of Craig Stutzmann. Division II championship going on today. Here's Reese Davis.
In beautiful downtown Florence, Alabama, no less, Pam, not far from my hometown, Grand Valley State, North Dakota. This is Kelby Klosterman of the Running Klostermans going in for the Fighting Sioux, and they're shutting down that high-powered Laker offense. It's 10-7 in the 4th.
Thank you, Reese. From Muscle Shoals, Alabama, I believe, our Reese Davis. Not far from where they play that championship game. Those games are fun. I did the Division III championship last year. A lot of fun to be around those kids. And the playoff system, which is good. Nick Rolovich has been great the last 2 games. How about over 1,000 yards?
7 touchdowns in 1 game. Come on.
That's sick. That is a completion to Shannon Harris, and that's a huge gain up to the 31. That's a 20-yard gain and a Hawaii first down.
One of the best things about Rolovich is that he's so accurate, the receivers catch it on full stride, not have to really slow down. That one was a little bit behind him, but most of the time right on the money. These guys are so athletic. Harris is a 4.5 runner, and that's the slowest of the wide receivers.
5'8", 151 pounds from Culver City, California. Shannon has 3 catches for 52 yards, including the 23-yard touchdown pass from Rolovich in the first quarter, very early, the second play of the game for those guys.
Keep an eye out for number 8.
He's going down the sideline, though, for Justin Colbert, and that's a name we have not called yet, is Ashley Lelie, who's number 8, the big wide receiver who's getting extra attention from the BYU secondary, but Rolovich is finding his other guys.
Yeah, he is, and I had to laugh the other day when June Jones was talking about this guy. No, not this guy. That's Ashley Lelie. But he was talking about Colbert, and he said he's a 4.3 runner, and he's very quick. And I said, well, how are you not quick if you're a 4.3 runner?
You have coaches talk about the difference between speed and quickness, and I guess that Justin has both. Yet to see Ashley catch a pass. That one is through the hands of Harris, who got turned around. Harris was covered by Brandon Heaney.
We're seeing some drops, and this is a team that doesn't drop the ball very much. If you go to their practice, you'll see the football in the air. This is another one that was a little bit high, but you know, it's easy to be high with these receivers because we've got what, a couple of 5'7", we've got a 5'8", a 5'8", a 5'9", and then you have Lelie out there at 6'3". The rest of them are Smurfs.
Rolovich completing 58% of his passes on the season. 3rd and 10. Steps up and over the middle he finds Lelie. His first catch of the game is for a first down, and Jamara Guilford strips the football. Great play by Guilford. They try to sort it out as BYU recovers its second fumble of the game.
Keep an eye on Lelie here. He will end up over the middle. And a great play by the quarterback, actually, in finding him. And a great move here. Stiff arm around the corner. You've got to protect the football. That's the way defensive players are told to tackle. Punch the football out.
Guilford got that right arm.
Guilford is a terrific secondary player. We keep talking NFL, but he is a player that most likely will be in the NFL, certainly according to the coaches.
He's only a sophomore, and he's considered to be the best cover guy, and routinely will draw the toughest assignment. And Ashley Lelie certainly is that. We have a Warrior down on the field being attended to by the staff of Hawaii. So Guilford forcing the fumble. He leads the team with 6 interceptions. Got the forced fumble there. BYU has the football when we come back.
The 1130 Sports Center, a conversation with Shaquille O'Neal. Linda Cohn sits down with Shaq and explores the short shorts controversy.
I'm just doing what the kids want us to do.
His relationship with Kobe.
I'm the big bully, the big brother. He's the little brother. We work together.
And his future with Phil.
If Phil leaves, I'm leaving the next day. Period.
Shaq, our Sunday conversation right after the Seahawks and Broncos.
Hawaii used to be known as the Rainbow Warriors, just the Warriors, and that's one of the many rainbows we've seen since we've come to the beautiful island of Oahu. Not a bad place to be.
Oh, no, I was lost yesterday getting from point A to point B, which is really not unusual.
It never happens.
But, but I looked up and saw that rainbow, and I said, you know what, it's okay to be lost out here.
Look who's back. Brandon Doman and Reno Mahe back for BYU. 1st and 10 from their 40 after the Guilford forced fumble, and he also recovered it. Doman, play action right to Mahe. First down into Hawaii territory. That's a 13-yard gain.
Mahe, the man they're looking for. Just a little crossing route here. Have a zone, and he finds the area underneath. And I think that type of pass is going to be open today based on what Hawaii is doing defensively.
And there are the comparison numbers for Peterson, who came in and played 1 series and helped them on a drive that got the field goal. Doman rolling to his left. The right-handed quarterback finds his tight end, Doug Jolly, for the first down, but a flag is down. That's a 14-yard gain if it holds.
That's a great throw right there, but that was a late flag. He threw it at the whistle.
And it's coming back. An eligible man downfield for the Cougars.
An eligible man downfield.
So that negates the first down, and here's Frank White again.
Ineligible receiver on the offense, downfield. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
That happens when the quarterback holds on to the ball longer than linemen think. And that's what Doman did that time, because he had to hold on to it to wait for his tight end to come open.
So it is still first down, but they get pushed back. He makes it 1st and 15 from the 40. See where they mark it. The 48 of BYU.
Fumbles have been a big factor here early. 4 balls have been on the turf, and Hawaii has lost both of its fumbles. And BYU, as they do all the time, they recovered both of theirs.
They have been really terrific on that. When they fumble on offense, more often than not, they recover them. Doman has time to look and find Mahe. He is inside Hawaii territory at the 41. That's an 11-yard gain.
How about Croton's decision? Does he look better? I mean, does he look more focused? I like the way Brandon Doman is coming out now, more assertive. So taking him into the sideline, letting him get an eye, get a feel for the game has worked.
2nd and 4. Play action. Doman looking for Mahe just a little low, and Mahe can't hold on to it. Maine and Northern Iowa playing some football. Here's Reese.
It is a shootout indeed, Pam, in the 1AA quarterfinals. Maine on the move, trying to answer a Purple Panther touchdown. Jake Eaton firing one in there to Chad Hayes, and that's what we've got here, 28-28. He held on long enough. One touchdown, 2 feet equal to catch. It's all 28.
Some offense there. The Black Bears making it 28 apiece. We're 14-3 in favor of Hawaii. That's sold out Aloha Stadium. 3rd and 4 for the Cougars. 2 of 7 so far on 3rd downs as Doman goes back into the shotgun.
There's Mahe.
Looking for his tight end, Doug Jolly, who grabs it for the first down. Heather Cox has more on Reno Mahe. We've seen him a lot today, Heather.
Pam, as of last night, by coach's design, Reno did not know about his expanded role in the backfield. I talked to him during Thursday's practice, and he said he'd only carry the ball if the running backs went down. Not 10 minutes later, I talked to offensive coordinator Mike Borch, and he said his role would be critical out of the backfield. They want to get Mahe 10 to 12 carries today, so look for him to get a lot of action out of that running back slot.
That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sure they know what they're doing more than me, but a surprise.
Well, they didn't want to have him thinking too much as Doman carries it by himself and stumbles forward close to the first down marker at the 25. In fact, Heather and I were both talking to him on Thursday, and we're like, well, you know, you're going to see the ball a lot more. And he looked at us like we were crazy, which is probably true.
Yeah.
But by design, as Heather said, the coaches decided not to tell him until yesterday what they had up their sleeves.
Huh. Well, I would just think that, you know, you've got to know the plays. Maybe he didn't know how often he would have the ball in his hands.
Quarterback Charlie Peterson is lined up to the left as a wide receiver. Stearns in motion. They go to Peterson, who's going to throw it to the tight end, Jolly in the end zone, but it's broken up beautifully by Jacob Espiau.
All right, Pam, great pickup there. A+ for you and A+ for the coverage.
How about Espiau? Honorable mention, all whack. He's been playing with a hurt foot. He was all over that one.
Well, it was perfectly executed by BYU. Defense wins, though. That ball was underthrown just a little bit.
Coming right at you.
No one slips in on you, do they?
Well,
you've got 17 over there.
Huh?
That's great.
That trickery did not work. 3rd and 1. a good play on 2nd and 1. Give it a shot. Now it's 3rd and 1.
He feels blitz.
Doman keeps it. 1st down. Maybe. Yes, he just scooches over the 25-yard line as that Hawaii defense closed nicely, including the middle linebacker, Watson Ho'ouli.
The one thing in option football that is probably the toughest thing in option football for a quarterback is a fast defense. And we've talked about that a couple of times, but did you see how they closed on him that time? It looked like he had a gap. It might make 5 to 10 yards. He barely picked up the 1st down.
Doman had 462 rushing yards coming into this game, 2nd to Luke Staley, who had almost 1,600 yards. He averages 3.6 yards a carry. 1st and 10.
Here they come.
He's got Halliday on the left side, but he's going deeper. That is a touchdown for Spencer Need. The tight end got behind the secondary for a 24-yard touchdown, and as we expected, the Cougars are right back in this. That is Need's 5th touchdown reception of the season. He had one last week at Mississippi State.
Blitz, if you pick it up, you have a good chance of finding someone open, and that's what happened there. Great job by the offensive line.
Matt Payne in to add the extra point. Hawaii got the first 14 points quickly, the last 10 going to BYU.
You've got to love the tight ends if you're Doman, and I know he does. Watch the safety bite right in there. No chance. This Need, he sees the safety right now. He knows he has it. He says, quarterback, please get it to me. And he has a guy who can read secondaries very well. Hey, I'm impressed with the poise of this bunch. They were down. And they're back in it.
And Doman, after sitting out a series, coming back in. Need is a big guy, 6'4", 260. And he lumbered down there and got the touchdown.
Team of tight ends. Sometimes they have 3 tight ends in the game at the same time.
12 touchdown catches out of the 31 by the tight ends. Spencer Need has 5 of them. Doug Jolly also with 5, and Gabriel Reed, the 3rd stringer, has some as well. So he does spread it around to the big guys, the tight ends. A very interesting offense concocted by Gary Croton. It's got elements of a lot of stuff, doesn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So after that touchdown, it's now 14-10 in favor of the Warriors. Matt Payne in to kick it off to Chad Owens.
I bet Chad Owens won't take this out of the end zone if it gets there. Mistake last time.
Payne did not kick it away last time. He does now, but makes Owens go for it about a yard deep in the end zone. Chad has a huge hole. Who has a punt return for a touchdown, now has a kickoff return for a touchdown.
The reason that worked and the reason he came out of the end zone is that he fielded it cleanly, and that ball was kicked very low. It was like a punt that had a hang time of 2.5 seconds. So when you get it like that on the move, you're going to have a lot of yardage and a lot of momentum. And BYU is not doing a good job of coverage or getting out of their lanes, and that guy's making them pay for it.
He had another 100-yarder for a touchdown against Air Force on November 23rd of this year as Ayat converts the extra point. So Chad Owens, maybe next time you really want to kick it nowhere near this guy.
See, look at the BYU coverage. They were on the 30 or 35-yard line when he started coming out. Good move here. Doesn't take a whole lot to beat a punter. And now you turn it on. Foot race. Not many people out running. See what you... Bye-bye, punter. Foot race, he wins. What a quarter for that guy. Huh?
And there's a good look at Chad, the junior from Honolulu.
Good-looking little guy with wheels.
It's the third kickoff return in Hawaii history over 100 yards. And Owens has 164 yards just with kick returns, and the 74-yard punt return for a touchdown as well. Came into this game 4th in the country in kickoff return average at 31 yards. And that's inching up. And that's exactly what he did.
Pam, have you ever seen a kick returner who maybe doesn't play another position be completely winded? You know, coach, I'm too tired to go.
And Owens does play a little wide receiver.
Yeah.
He's expected to be a starter next year, but he only has 5 catches on the season. We know his forte, and that is returning kicks and punts. Ion pooches it all the way into the end zone. Raquel takes it 5 yards deep, and he's only getting to the 16. Sports' most prestigious award, of course, is the Heisman Trophy. It's coming up.
Down Miami. A 40-yard cross from Ken Dorsey. Oh, Eric Crouch threaded that football perfectly.
Roskin has a man wide open. Touchdown. Here's George Harrington throwing. Touchdown, Oregon.
The Heisman Trophy presentation presented by Wendy's comes your way tonight at 7 Eastern Time, which is 2 o'clock here.
2 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
2 o'clock. You better
2 o'clock
hustle.
in Hawaii.
We won't be out of the first half.
The first quarter, a crazy, wild, fun first quarter, is winding down here in Honolulu. Doman on the keeper. Breaks a tackle and gets the first down. How about Brandon?
Luke Staley's not here. Quarterback turns tailback. We mentioned that at the beginning of our show.
That's a 16-yard gain for Doman. His longest of the season, 37. Doman working overtime today, 21-10. Hawaii, 2 of its touchdowns on returns, a punt return and a kickoff return. We have a good one going on in Hawaii. Welcome back to Hawaii. BYU down by 11 as we begin the second quarter. They have the big fog machines going. And a rather comfortable afternoon here, December the 8th. 1st and 10 after the Doman first down run. Blitz coming. Doman sidesteps but can't get the pass off. Tino Isamoa. That's the 3rd sack for Hawaii so far today. Let's get back to Reese Davis.
Well, Pam, I know I'm going to have a hard time upstaging Chad Owens, but 1AA quarterfinals, Maine, Northern Iowa. Check out this run by Adam Benz. Starting, dicing, he's on a yardage bend. 63 yards. He takes it to the house for Northern Iowa, and they regain the lead against Maine, 35-28. They're early in the 4th.
Oh, a terrific run there. How about that?
If anybody sees any defense out there today, give us a holler, will you?
We see a flag here. A flag has flown before the 2nd and 13 play.
Substitution infraction on the defense. 12 men on the field. 5-yard penalty.
So instead of 2nd and 13, it will now be 2nd and 8 for BYU. June Jones coming back to Hawaii and turning around a program. He's in his 3rd year. Remember when he inherited this team, they were 0-12 the year before he came in, and all he did was win 9 games and also the Oahu Bowl, including the Oahu Bowl. So, and another great season with at least 8 wins guaranteed this year. Doman, nowhere to go but upfield. Shoestring tackle by Joe Correa.
They're getting to the quarterback with not having to blitz. And when you can do that, you can drop 7 men into coverage. And that's a problem.
3rd and 4. Doman able to pick up a yard on that little scramble. And the chant of defense comes out from this sold-out stadium. Over 50,000 people crammed in. Doman looking right all the way, and he fires it high for Rod Wilkerson.
That was a bad ball, but it's a ball that I can tell was thrown with wind worries. You know, from up here, we don't know which way it is on the field, but the flag is showing 30-mile-an-hour winds, and that was the problem.
Briskly blowing. That's the Hawaii State flag on the right. And a great play by Hiram Peters on the coverage. Hiram is from Hawaii, moved to Utah. His folks, his family wanted him to go to BYU, but Hiram said he wanted to go to Hawaii, and he's having fun so far today. As Aaron Edmonds is in, and Chad Owens is back.
You kick away from him, or you hang one that is, you know, maybe not 35 yards, but you kick it high so he can't run it back.
Edmonds' third punt of the day, and he does kick it away as Owens did not call. That was not a fair catch sign, but he just shielded the sun from his eyes. He did not wave his arm for the fair catch, but he gets it, and they'll have it around the 22. It has been the Chad Owens show so far this afternoon. We take you back to the first quarter for a 64-yard kickoff return that set up Nick Rolovich's touchdown pass a couple of plays later to Shannon Harris, and then this 74-yard punt return also in the first quarter. Fifth longest in school history, made it 14-0. And finally, Owens with a 100-yard kick return in the waning seconds of the first quarter. 2 returns for touchdowns in the same game ties an NCAA record held by 6 other players. Chad Owens in the record books. We still have most of the game left to go. Rolovich buying time and finds Lelie, who is way faster than Justin Etta. Can Brandon Heaney catch him? Yes. And that is a matchup you don't want out there. Etta had Lelie, and he just blazed right by him. 61-yard gain.
You don't want him in the open field. Rolovich does what he didn't do when he came in. Primary receiver. Where's my secondary guy? Look at him point. Thumb it over. He gives directions to Lelie. Lelie, the third receiver for him. The thumb goes out. Full stride. This is the guy, 6'3", 4.27 in the 40. Can catch everything on the island. He's remarkable.
Boy, how about that play by Rolovich? It was kind of like a no-look thumb. He's looking right, pointing to his left, and Lelie, they read each other so well.
Well, he looks off the secondary real well.
Rolovich, though, goes down as he is sacked back at the 25. More on the Division II championship with Reese Davis.
Pam, it's great for 2 offenses you guys are watching. Grand Valley State set an all-time D2 record, but they've been held to 7 points by North Dakota. Ryan Brady. Second touchdown rushing of the day. Had just 1 run all season. He's the backup guy. Got them 2-10 away from a national championship.
Thank you, Reese. Looks like a good finish coming up in that one. Alabama, 2nd and 17. We're off to a great start here. Hawaii up 21-10.
2 statistics you can't believe. Hawaii had the ball only 2 minutes in the first quarter, and we're on a 124-point pace.
Rolovich looking in the end zone and just out of the reach of Justin Colbert. When you have those, a punt return and a kickoff return for a touchdown, your time of possession goes way down. But that's amazing. You score 21 points and have the ball for 2 minutes.
2 minutes. You
3rd and 17, excuse me, Dean, after that incompletion.
Well, one of the things I really like about this offense is that they stretch the field. I mean, they throw a lot of vertical routes. You know, they may not complete but 2 or 3 out of 10. But those 2 or 3 are very big plays. And they also make the secondary play so loose that you can come back underneath.
Hawaii with 13 plays so far. 12 of them were pass plays. Here's the 13th. Over the middle, Heaney with the coverage, tight coverage on Craig Stutzmann. It's incomplete. Heaney, the sophomore from California, with the good coverage.
Well, we talked so much offense because of how much offense there is in this game, but that was a great defensive play.
And there is the graphic with the time of possession, Dean.
2:16 and 21 points.
Not bad. Justin Ayotte in to try his first field goal of the day. It's a 41-yarder. He had a 55-yarder earlier this season against Tulsa. And this one is no good. Just scooched off to the right at the last second. Maybe the trade winds blew that one down. Hawaii still up 21-10. Hulu, the day that will live in infamy, the 60th anniversary yesterday of the attack on Pearl Harbor, very close to Aloha Stadium. Survivors from both the American and Japanese sides on hand, and the missing man formation, very touching ceremony that was shown live on the television stations throughout much of America. And it was 60 years ago yesterday at 7:56 a.m. local time. They had a moment of silence and very solemn time. Many survivors making the trip over, and just a great ceremony, many ceremonies to remember such a time. As that pass is incomplete, trying to get it to Spencer Need. Flew over here and was sitting next to one of the survivors on the plane. We had a nice conversation of, hard to believe, 60 years ago. And many of them are sticking around for the weekend. If they're watching this game, they're getting some money for their entertainment dollar here. 21-10 in favor of Hawaii. 2nd and 10. Fake reverse. Doman looking down for Stearns, his halfback, who catches it and then fumbles it. Hawaii has it. Is he inbounds? Yes. Hiram Peters with the hit, and Sean Butts with the recovery.
Watch Peters. This is a wheel route, and Stearns doesn't see him. Did he have total control? I guess so. We've had some licks out here today. And the good news is on a wheel route is that you have a chance to sneak by a defender and catch the ball. The bad news is you have a chance to have happen what just happened there.
Sean Butts has been a very good special team player. He blocked 2 kicks against Boise State last month, which tied a Hawaii record. Came up with a big fumble recovery there on the Hiram Peters hit. So 1st and 10 from Hawaii's 45. Rolo to Lelie. First down. That's the 3rd catch for Ashley Lelie. Remember, he fumbled his first reception and then had a couple of big catches now coming up.
No disguise, nothing fancy defensively. Lelie curled. They sit back in a zone. They're worried about that vertical route we talked about. That's just pitch and catch.
Ashley Lelie, Dean, has 3 catches for 102 yards already today.
Well, we were talking during the break. We said, you know, is Lelie doing something? We said, no, not really.
Yeah,
huh? How about those numbers?
Yeah. Just wait. It's just a matter of time. Rolovich gets planted into the carpet as that falls harmlessly. Good pressure by Ryan Denny. Let's go back North Dakota in that Division II championship game. We have a flag down here.
Last chance for the Fighting Sioux, Pam, against Grand Valley State. 4th and 4, Kelby Klosterman. This is for the ball game. Little fire to Dan Grossman. Dan Grossman's loose. A missed tackle. Grossman running to glory. Inside the 20. Grossman. No. Pulled down, but North Dakota would score on the next play, and now the most prolific offense in the history of D2 has about 32 seconds to save itself. 17-14.
Thank you, Reese. North Dakota, its first ever trip into the D2 championship, is starting to score some points late. Great play there, but as Reese said, that other team can score some points, so it should be a great finish. We had a holding call here against BYU. So it's 1st and 10 for Hawaii, and they pick up some yardage. Rolovich out of the shotgun. Oh, too far for Mike Bass, the freshman running back from Corona, California.
Well, I've watched some tape on Mr. Bass. He's a good player, but he doesn't catch a lot of those swing balls. That wasn't thrown. It wasn't the best thrown ball, but you got to catch those. Yeah, I think that BYU needs to look for the pass. There have been no running plays. No running plays for Hawaii. They had a 7-yard sack. No running plays.
June Jones tells us he doesn't recruit running backs, and you can see why. He doesn't use them. Rolovich says, give me a block out in front. It was missed, but Heaney caught up with him. Not before, though. Rolo ran for the first down. It's a 12-yard gain.
That was a play that had a chance for a touchdown. We'll show it to you. It was one block short. I want to show you again. Watch the look off by Rolovich. I love this about him. He's looking left, looking left, looking left, pointing. So get a block right there, Harris. Doesn't do it. Good defense by Heaney, but one block away from scoring.
And you can see by the time Shannon turned his head, Shannon Harris turned his head, Heaney was already by him. And that was the first rush play. The first rush counter, of course, was that sack that you mentioned about. So it's 2 overall. And Lelie is pushed out of the way by Guilford. That's an interference call. Now, I don't think Guilford has much to argue about on this one. And that will be a first down after the penalty.
Yeah.
First down.
That's a no-brainer. I mean, I don't know what Guilford was thinking. The ball was in the air. His back was to the ball. And he just pushes Lelie out of bounds.
He's still arguing his case, so.
You know, June Jones told us yesterday, he's so used to the pro game, he looks at the college game differently. He says, there aren't very many good defensive backs here. So they don't play the ball. They don't go after the ball the way that NFL defensive backs do.
Take a look at the penalties. BYU now 4 for 40 yards after that 15-yarder for the interference. So it's first and goal for the Warriors from the 6. They are already up by 11. 3 wide receivers to Rolovich's left. He gives it to Mike Bass. He fumbles it. And Brigham Young recovers. Aaron Francisco with his second big play for the Hawaii native. 4 turnovers for the Warriors. That one hurts.
This is open for a nice little game because of the blitz from the linebacker. That should have been 15 yards. They didn't call it. An official was right there. Damn, that's 4 turnovers already. Wow.
4 turnovers for Hawaii. BYU has 1. That's the first designed run play.
Right. That other was the scramble. Right.
So June Jones looked like he was on the cusp of getting another score. Instead, it goes back to BYU at the 6. Mahe stumbles forward for a couple.
We can't mention Luke Staley too much. The Doak Walker Award winner. That is an element of this offense that is so important. I mean, he can run it. He forces defenses to play the pass differently. And look at this one. We talked about that one last week, I think. Only Greg Pruitt out of Oklahoma many years ago had a better average. 8.1 yards.
Right, with as many yards with Pruitt on that one as Doman gives a little play action. Flag is down. Mahe gets it. It will be a first down, but it looks like it might be a holding against BYU.
Fumble late.
But they're saying it's down, so Mahe holds on to it. The question right now is the flag. And it is indeed a holding penalty. Go back to Luke Staley. Those 24 touchdowns were rushing. He also had 4 receiving.
Right.
So 28 touchdowns for Staley on the season. There are 30 Division 1A teams that didn't score 28 touchdowns this year, and Staley had it all by himself. They certainly miss him.
Gary Croton has so many plays up his sleeve.
On the offense. Half the distance to the goal, repeat, second down.
The defensive coordinator, Kevin Limpa, telling us yesterday that he'll draw up 5 plays on the way from the hotel to the ball yard. There's the holding. Cubbins guilty. Flag. Take away the first down.
So instead of the first down, you have the ball pushed back inside the 5 at second and 11. Doman from his end zone has to take off, and he doesn't go anywhere. Travis LeBoy shoestrings him. That's the 4th sack for the Warriors today.
Yeah, and BYU doesn't get sacked There's some great pass defense going on here. Dolman was waiting and waiting, trying to find his tight end, but deep in his own territory, you can't force it. LeBoy right here. Speed, he's their best rusher. Fights off the block. Pushes the tackle out of the way. Strength and speed wins most of the time.
And that was 6'7", 301-pounder Dustin Reichert he was able to get away from. Dolman has to throw it towards Rigel, who gets a hand on it but can't gather it in. Great pressure by Watson Hoho'uli. And he threw that one up there. The wind took it away.
The pass rush is what's getting to BYU. They're desperate. He's in his end zone. You get the hole. That's the only way he can get the ball loose. Well, Rigel almost makes a catch, huh?
Well, you saw Rigel look like he was out of bounds and then came back in, but it didn't matter because it's incomplete.
All right, we've got a lot of pressure here. A snapper and kicker, you've got to get it away. This is a time that the return man has a great chance, and you know who's returning.
That's Chad. Aaron Edmonds has never had a punt blocked in his career. That's a good one as he gets it off, and Owens fighting the wind, gets it at the 47. Oh! He is just tackled and tripped up. Great play by Kurt Elliott, or else he might have been gone again. Hawaii gets the ball back when we return.
Hey, Hallie Eisenberg.
ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by Minute Pass. By the minutes that never expire. And by EA Sports and Madden NFL 2002. If it's in the game, it's in the game.
That is Diamond Head from the shores of Waikiki near the Hilton Hotel, where get some terrific views on this island of Oahu. We've had some great views in this game. Hawaii up 21-10, and the Warriors have the ball back on their 32. Rolovich has it knocked down. Justin Enna, the middle linebacker, got his hand on it. Let's head back to Reese in Bristol.
Division II championship, Pam. This the last chance for Grand Valley State. The redshirt freshman quarterback, Tom Wojciechowski, in there, can't take the sack. Son, give it up. And he does. Brett Lesniak has it, and Lesniak got to find somebody to lateral to. Too late. Ball game. The Fighting Sioux, your national champions in Division II. North Dakota takes it 17-14, 14 in one season.
Thank you, Reese. What they needed was the band on the field maybe to make that last play work. Congratulations to North Dakota, not just a hockey school anymore. That was a heck of a hit. Shannon Harris got licked by Dustin Staley, Luke's big brother. The last couple of games, the University of Hawaii offense has been effective.
1,000 yards, folks. 1,000 yards. They get a star for that. That's throwing the football.
Scored 52 points in each game. And the thing about that Air Force game, Air Force got 545 yards rushing, and they lost by 22 points.
Well, that's what's happening here.
And Lelie's numbers the last two games, nothing to sneeze at either. He's got over 100 yards today on 3 catches, but no touchdowns yet. Rolovich rolling out and looking for Shannon Harris, and that hit was delivered just in time by Dustin Staley. Terrific timing.
That was great defense. That's the other part of the Staley tandem. You know, out on the run, good throw. When the defensive man gets there that quickly, it's most of the time it's a bust up.
Ball and man arrived at the same time. Justin Ayat in for a 45-yarder. He missed from 41 earlier in the second quarter. The wind is swirling. That one has a lot more juice behind it and is good. So Justin Ayat, the native Hawaiian, knocks it home, and the Warriors' lead is back to 2 touchdowns.
Of the most famous trophy in sports, but only one will be permanently linked to its enduring legacy. The 2001 Heisman Trophy presentation, presented by Wendy's, tonight at 7 on ESPN.
It's must-win football on Sunday night. Denver's Brian Gracie and Terrell Davis fight for their playoff lives against Seattle's running sensation, Sean Alexander.
Alexander, touchdown!
Seahawks Broncos, 8:30 Sunday on ESPN.
Lelie Kaliki Maka means, of course, Merry Christmas in the native Hawaiian language, and that's what we're all celebrating here. It's kind of weird to be in this beautiful, beautiful weather, and then you hear Christmas music, and you see Christmas trees, and people are walking around in shorts. It's kind of cool. Beautiful day in a sold-out rocking stadium at Aloha Stadium. Tough ticket. A very difficult ticket, and a lot of people are all celebrating the holidays early, and it would be a huge holiday if Hawaii could knock off BYU. Justin Ayat, after the field goal, kicks it to Mike Rigel, but instead he kicks it out of bounds.
Well, how do you get so much leg into it, the field goal, and then that type of kickoff?
Let's go down to Heather Cox on the field.
Pam, on February 22nd of this year, June Jones defied all odds by surviving a near-fatal car crash here in Honolulu. His car crashed into a cement pillar on a freeway. The most serious injury, a torn aorta. He says after that, his life has changed dramatically. He has spent the last 10 months rehabbing his mind, body, and spirit. It started with just a 10-yard jog. Then the week of the Fresno State win, he went a full lap for the very first time. He is now built up to 2 laps. And Pam, Jones has made an incredible recovery. In fact, doctors considered his chances of survival just 1 in a million.
Thank you, Heather. They also said it's amazing with the torn aorta that he was not paralyzed from the waist down, at least, as Stearns is taken down by the flying Hawaiian, Nate Jackson.
You know, June Jones, he was so popular, it still is popular. They said, man, this guy could win governor. What I liked about him is that he has no pretense about him, and players love guys like that. You know, he's not a rah-rah guy most of the time, but a guy like that is believable. And I would think that you could look at him and say he's sort of the quintessential player's coach. That's
what Nick Rolovich and Ashley Lelie told us yesterday. He said he treats us like men, and he's like, you know, one play and go on. Don't hold a grudge, keep going. Reno Mahe keeps going. Jacob Espial gets him at the 40. So Mahe finally got some free room, but there's a penalty flag at the end of the play.
Well, the old "these teams don't like one another" statement is applicable here. And it's obvious with the penalties and late hits.
Dead ball, personal foul on the offense. 15-yard penalty.
Boy, that is a big penalty after a big gain, Dean.
Well, it was a great play by Mahe. I mean, this is like a running back. He's kind of getting used to playing the tailback position now, getting some carries. Makes a great cut back there, but now coming right there.
Up.
That was T. Whiting.
Late hit on Nate Jackson. And now the penalty starting to mount up for the Cougars.
Not a good play by Whiting.
So the ball is taken all the way back.
6 penalties with 6:20 to go here in the second. That is not a good penalty pace.
1st and 10 from the BYU 45. Doman able to escape trouble, gets it out to Need, his tight end, who gets away from a couple of would-be tacklers and picks up the first down. How about that for the 6'4", 260-pound junior? 13-yard pickup with those nifty feet.
Well, the sign of a great team, a great quarterback, is to make something happen when it looks like you can't. He evades the defensive end rush right here. Great, great job there. Quarterback has to make a play. And then the tight end does the rest. Poor tackling and a big play.
Hiram Peters finally coming up, lowering the shoulder, but not before the first down was made. 3 catches for Need on the day. 1st and 10, now BYU in a wide territory at the 42. The pressure gets to Doman, who fumbles it. Ball still loose, and Hawaii recovers. Joe Correa coming up with the football.
these teams have too much energy and they can't control themselves. Yet another fumble. Had good coverage and, had good protection until the end. You've got to get rid of that ball before that.
And credit Chris Brown, the middle linebacker, with forcing it, number 54.
54 is their best linebacker.
He was a defensive end last year, and Kevin Lempa said he was only so-so at that position. He's been much better now that he's been moved to the middle linebacking spot. Second turnover for BYU. A rare running play for Thero Mitchell.
Second designed running play. Second. 5 minutes to go in the second quarter.
And he did not get much.
Yeah, tried to keep him honest.
And we talked about how June Jones told us he does not recruit running backs, but he did hear about a fellow who played some high school football in Oregon named Luke Staley. He said, yeah, I heard about, he told me about him. He said, I think it was a mistake that I didn't go after him.
Oh, that's great. It's also great of him, he brought that up.
Right, to admit it.
Yeah.
No, nobody's perfect, and June certainly admitted it, and Luke's done pretty well for himself. Another running play. How about back-to-back? Thero Mitchell picks up the first down. A 12-yard gain. Mitchell coming into this season with only 309 yards total.
Watch this. Tuata and Kanoa slip through the hole, and this time the running back makes a play, keeps the legs moving, and Mitchell is averaging 4.8 yards per carry, so he can bust them open occasionally.
Yeah, 309 yards on the season coming into this game, I meant to say, as Rolovich looks for Stutzmann, and that falls incomplete. And on that last play, you mentioned Louis Fuata and Manly Kanoa, the guys on the left side of the Hawaii offensive line, and they are two of the fellas that June Jones says thinks has NFL potential, along with Vince Manawai and Uriah Manoa. Just, 4 of them on the offensive line alone he thinks could go on. It's a good offensive line.
There are the numbers on Rolovich, Pam, and the wind is a factor. These balls are floating, and the strength of Rolovich is the deep ball. That should have been a touchdown.
He does have that nice tight spiral that usually cuts the wind fairly nicely, but you're right, the wind is whipping. Lelie can't hold on to it. As he had to stop in his tracks at the 10 and reach back.
Well, and that's the only way you can complete that ball. Your receiver has his eyes on you, and Lelie knows that he can come back after it. It's not as well thrown as you'd like. The defender has his back to the ball, has no idea. Receiver comes back, and it was just underthrown by 3 or 4 yards.
Short hopped him. Hawaii 0 for 4 on third downs today. It's 3rd and 10. Rolovich looking all the way for Lelie, who just beautifully. Oh, what a catch. Man, a 14-yard gain and a first down.
That's the prettiest 14-yard gain you'll ever see. Guilford on him. Oh, goes right to the ball, and the ball goes where only Lelie can catch it, but he can only catch it with an acrobatic move. That would have worked in the NFL. He may be using that a year from now, maybe 2 years from now. He's a junior. He got both feet in just to show off.
Wow, 4 catches, 116 yards. That's the first third down conversion for Hawaii on the day. Rolovich to Lelie on the post pattern. There's his first touchdown of the day.
I was about to circle him because he had man-to-man coverage, and he got the move inside, and then there was no one. They cleared out the middle, and that's like backyard ball, Pam, when you can just hit a receiver on a skinny post route.
That is the 18th touchdown catch for Lelie.
And the second celebration penalty. Good news, bad news, huh?
Yeah, so Ayat will be pushed back again. He did convert the first one earlier on in the game. Plenty to celebrate for Hawaii. So the extra point attempt now will be a 35-yarder for Ayotte. But again, the wind is the unknown factor. Didn't affect him that time, just like in the first quarter when he was pointed the other way.
Go ahead and celebrate.
Ashley Lelie takes it in. It's a 3-touchdown lead for the Warriors.
Go ahead. You can handle it. Now you can take on the curves, the twist. 5,000.
Welcome back to Hawaii. The Warriors with a 3-touchdown lead against BYU, the biggest deficit the Warriors have faced all season. The latest touchdown coming to Ashley Lelie, a 15-yard touchdown pass from Nick Rolovich, minute 23.
Doesn't take them long.
Not when you have number 8 on your side or number 12. Nick Rolovich has tied the Hawaii school record, his 28th touchdown pass of the season. Dan Robinson had 28 back in 1999.
Kind of a laid-back guy. Says his hidden talent is playing the guitar. Enjoyed talking to him yesterday. I think the best things about him, though, he's tough and throws the deep ball well.
That is certainly an unhidden talent. Mike Rigel gets the Ayotte kick at the 3 and breaks clear. Breaks a couple of tackles. He fumbles it. The Warriors pick it up. Hawaii gets the football back. Keldon Millhouse picked it up.
This is the wildest game I've ever seen. The more stuff happened here in the first 20 minutes than you'll ever see in one game. Hold on to the football. Hold on to it. Hawaii gets the good bounce there. It's a good tackle. It's a good job by going after the football.
Josiah Cravallo with the great strip of the football. And we talked with Kevin Lemper, the defensive coordinator, yesterday. He says they do a lot of strip drills to try to get the football, and that one certainly worked.
Everybody's doing that, Pam, and you have to know that as somebody with the football in their arm.
1st and 10 from the 40. Make it Justin Colbert with the first down catch. Got a lot of stuff going on here, Reese Davis. You have some stuff for us.
We do, Cam. 1AA playoffs, the quarterfinals. Georgia Southern, reigning champion, going on to the semis. 38-24, went over App State, the only team to beat Georgia Southern this year. Over 100 yards for Adrian Peterson again. Look what he's done in his career in playoff games. 30 rushing touchdowns, and he's got Furman coming up next week. We'll show some highlights from the 1AA playoffs and much more coming up at halftime.
Thank you, Reese. We will see you then. And Adrian Peterson, what a terrific career, and it continues on for Georgia Southern. 1st and 10. Lelie gets it and is dragged down at the 11-yard line by Levi Madrietta. A 13-yard gain and a first down for Ashley.
Well, they have them on their heels. Hawaii just attacking them. That was a simple little inside screen. Great blocking out front. When you get a man like that in, you know, I think the thing that impresses me about those guys on little inside screens, that's 2 plays in a row. When they catch it, they turn straight up north and south and explode.
Numbers on the league getting more and more gaudy. Manly Kanoa, number 76, the left guard, with a great block downfield. All 6'4", 320 pounds of him. That is thrown behind Craig Stutzmann, who had a little bit of room there in the end zone.
Hawaii does something that not many teams do. When they get down to even where they are now, 10, 15-yard line, they will throw what is considered a vertical route.
Second and 10 after that incompletion to Stutzmann. Stutzmann and Rolovich, by the way, 2 of the 21 seniors playing their final collegiate game of the senior day here in Honolulu. And it's been a good one so far for Hawaii. Rolovich handles that errant snap. Looks like a broken play, and he takes it down towards the 5-yard line. And Francisco gets his hands on it. It's a 6-yard gain for Rolovich.
Good hands, Doesn't want to give it to the back. He says, just let me take it, make something out of nothing. This guy's come out of nowhere. I mean, you know, he had those bad 3 games last year, and look at him now.
That's right. He started the first 3 games last year, fresh out of junior college, and he admitted that he wasn't ready to do it. He had not grasped the offense. And he said this year he was all set and ready to go. And when Timmy Chang hurt his wrist, he has stepped in and done a beautiful job.
He said he didn't focus. You know, he admitted it.
And yeah, took the blame himself, and now he'll take a timeout. 3rd and 4 coming up for Hawaii. They're already up by 3 touchdowns on unbeaten Brigham Young.
It's where academics count. It's where athletes count.
Back at Aloha Stadium, Hawaii, with a 3rd down coming up. They've just taken a timeout, trying to extend this 3-touchdown lead over BYU. And Dean, all season long, BYU has feasted on taking advantage of turnovers. They haven't done it today yet.
No, they haven't, and they better start doing it because Hawaii is giving the ball up. I mean, we have some really remarkable statistics already in this game. I think one of them that is remarkable is that 5 turnovers for Hawaii so far, and they have a, what is it, 21-point lead with 5 turnovers.
5 turnovers and only 10 points scored off of them by BYU. 3rd and 4 from the 5 for Hawaii. Rolovich gives it to Mitchell. You never expect that, do you? I guess the BYU defense,
they did.
They seemed like they did. They sure did, as 4 guys in white engulfed him, including Ifo Pili, senior from Shelton, Washington.
Yeah, that was a great job of recognition because they're thinking pass, pass, pass.
They're going for it, Dean, on 4th down. Rolovich stays in.
Well, Jude Jones is moving forward. It's like an automobile that is moving forward, but you want to gun it. You want to gas it one more time.
At 5 of 15 on 4th down for the season, by the way, is dead last in the WAC.
Got to think one-on-one down here to Lelie.
He's looking for him in the right end zone, but instead throws the post pattern incomplete to Shannon Harris. Boy, he was looking right away, Dean. You were right to Lelie, but he was well covered.
Hey, that's great defense. I mean, really good defense. Sitting back in zone. Blitz comes. You know what happened is he had a little bit of an opening. At that point, though, the defensive line was coming at him and had their hands up. Lelie on the far side.
Gopher just
not a factor. Yeah.
Yep. And that was, you're right, there was just maybe that look off of Lelie gave Dustin Staley time to close on Harris, and the lane was gone. So BYU gets it on downs from the 8. 2:28 left to go in the first half. We'll see what Doman can do. Puts it up to Andrew Ord, and it's almost intercepted. Oh, man. Abraham Elamimian was right there.
Fortunate for BYU here. This has 6 written all over it. Who was that? Ord? That was.
He was
Ord
looking for Andrew Ord. Yep.
Yeah. You know, Ord has to come back for that football, Pam. You know, those curl routes, you just have to come back at it. If you don't, an aggressive defender is going to pick that one off.
Doman threw a career-high 3 interceptions last week at Mississippi State. He was lucky he wasn't picked that time. He's now 9 of 20. Through the air, looking for Doug Jolly. Coming up at halftime, we'll hear from Reese Davis. He has a preview for us. Reese?
All right, Pam, and on the Saturn halftime report, we will say yo Adrian Peterson putting on a show in the 1AA playoffs again. We'll take a peek ahead at what's coming up tonight in New York. The Heisman Trophy will be presented. We'll have a preview of that. We'll also have a champion in Division II. If you haven't seen the highlights yet, will it be the Fighting Sioux or the Lakers? Mark May and I tell all soon.
All right, Reese, the college season is winding down, and the crowd is up for this one. 3rd and 10, Doman keeps it. And he goes right for the sticks, and depending on the spot, they're going to give it to him. The official goes right past the stick, so a 10-yard gain for Doman and a first down.
Well, we were talking while Reese was amongst ourselves and said this is just such a critical play for BYU. And he makes it on his own. You know, he's not a tailback. He's sort of playing like one today, but that's a great call because you can't turn it over. You don't want to get sacked back in towards your end zone. So you run quarterback draw and pick up the first.
Doman doing it with his legs that time. The leading rusher for BYU today. Well, actually, Mahe is with 40 yards. Got more yards than any of his true running backs. And there's Mahe with the catch. Tino Isamoa coming up and making the stop. And Tino Isamoa is another guy. When we were talking to Kevin Lempa, there are a lot of banged-up Warriors. And Tino Isamoa has missed the last 3 games, plus all of one play of the one before. He has a stress fracture in his right tibia. And there was questions as to whether or not he'd play today, and he's played pretty well.
2-minute offense.
Halliday gets the reception, and that's a first down past the 35-yard line.
All right, we've got 3 timeouts remaining. BYU, enough time to get there, but they started deep in their own territory. They're going to have a lot of open underneath opportunities.
Halliday with that grab. 25 catches on the season coming in. BYU has all 3 of its timeouts remaining. Doman finds a lane and gets Rigel at the 42-yard line.
Well, they're going to have to use timeouts, and you can't get it done with that short a pass. Clock moving after a 4-yard gain.
Hiram
Well,
Peters.
maybe 5 or 6, but it was short. It was a short throw.
Short and in the middle of the field,
Yeah.
so you don't stop the clock on the sidelines or with the first down. 2nd and 4 after the 6-yard gain. Doman has to move to his right. He has his man wide open. That's Rod Wilkerson, the freshman from Orem, Utah. A 9-yard gain and another first down. 57 seconds left to go here in the first half.
We've seen Doman enough, and there he's getting the call from his head coach, which that happens with the other squad too, June Jones and Rolo. But what he does, he makes plays when the play's not there.
Ball now in Hawaii territory at the 48. Got 3 receivers to his left. There's Doman. Retreating way back, a middle screen is complete to Ned Stearns, his halfback, who gets the first down. Hiram Peters coming up to make the stop, and Gary Croton is livid as Brandon Doman he signaled for a timeout. BYU only has 10 points so far in this game. They average 47 points a game. And Hawaii not known for being a great defensive team, but they've made some plays today, Dean.
Well, they're improved this season, but the hitting has been terrific, and they've forced some fumbles. That's a great play in the secondary.
Jacob Espiau, Travis LeBoy with the sack on Brandon Doman, and Chris Brown with the sack and the strip. And Correa came up with it, another strip. Kelvin Millhouse picks it up, and they have been all over that football today.
Well,
there's Kevin Lempa, the defensive coordinator, who told us he's actually stolen a couple of calls this year just by having his guys point the right way. That was interesting. The pointing drill.
On a fumble. Yeah, the guys get up and they all point a certain direction and try to influence the referee. I mean, I've never heard a coach admit that.
He said it worked a couple times, so they continue to do it, and they've legitimately done a great job of picking up the fumbles today.
You know, he said they do it in practice. We said, you mean you line them all up and they all start pointing it one way? You gotta like that drill.
Especially when it works.
This guy right now is pretty intense. He's going into the wind. The clock is against him all of a sudden.
This is a very heated rivalry from the days back when both of these ball clubs, of course, played in the WAC. And BYU left for the Mountain West, and a lot of these Hawaii guys, a lot of the natives here, can't stand up for that, for leaving.
You've got to go deep a couple of times. All the stuff has been shallow.
Doman, a little quick hitter to Reno Mahe. That's a 6-yard gain. Flags fly late from near the Hawaii sideline.
Timeout. BYU, their second charge timeout.
BYU takes the timeout, but the flag stopped the clock anyway.
If BYU can score here, what a reversal. Jones goes for the touchdown on the field.
Telling the Hawaii team to get back.
What?
They're supposed to be off the white portion of the
Did they penalize him for it?
Now, June Jones is speaking
Warning?
with the official
Yeah,
now. It was
yeah.
a warning, yes. Oh, now the flag flies because June Jones has gone onto the field to discuss the penalty with the linesman. That's Jim Laborde, who just threw the flag.
June Jones has a reputation for being very hard on officials. And it's odd to me because he has a laid-back personality. And I guess then he can flip that switch, but that's not smart.
Especially, you're right, in this situation with 24 seconds left to go.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the coaching staff away. 15-yard penalty, first down.
And they were just given a warning, so they got away with it sort of the first time, and then he goes out and spoils it.
Could be a big turnaround here, guys. You have June Jones electing to forego a field goal, try for the touchdown, and now the penalty. If BYU can get points out of this, that's a 14-point swing. Huh?
And it has started to rain a little bit here, a nice misty rain. Even though the sun is out, that happens quite often here in Hawaii, where the rain will come down for a little bit. And that's something else that BYU will have to contend with. The wind, really at their backs, kind of going from right to left at the moment. So after that unsportsmanlike penalty, it's 1st and 10 from the 16 for BYU. Doman nowhere to go, so he has to take off with it. A flag is down as Doman heads towards the 10-yard line. Gain of 7 pending the flag. Defensive holding. Big call.
Holding on the defense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
10 yards and the first down. Defensive coordinator Kevin Lempo looks on. The Saturn halftime report is coming up 16 playing seconds from now. Reese Davis will talk about the Heisman Trophy, which will be given away shortly. Division II championships to a team from up north, and the SE title game coming up later as well.
You can call whatever you want here because you have another timeout remaining. But you'd like to go ahead and throw this in the end zone. Empty backfield.
3 receivers to his left. Reno Mahe, the closest in the slot.
Don't forget his tight end. He loves him in this situation.
He's got him in the back of the end zone. Doman finds him late, and it's incomplete through Stern's hands and through Jolly's hands.
That play took 10 seconds. That's unbelievable. It's not good for BYU. Has time. He has time. He's looking for the guy we talked about, the tight end.
And that's Doug Jolly.
You know, he forced it in there, but he can't throw it right now. Now he's open.
So you got over there Nate Jackson. Nate Jackson's on point too.
Okay, okay. Now you want the touchdown. You don't want to bring out the field goal kicker with 6 seconds to go. You've got to make a. You've got to have a play go, obviously, with less than 6 seconds. The last one was 10 seconds. So the quarterback knows that. I would assume that he would get the ball and throw a timing route very quickly.
And you're right, the 10 seconds on that last play really could have cost them an extra play here. Lempa talking with his guys, Pisatino Isamoa, Chris Brown among them.
Well, you got to think if you're the defense that you can put some pressure on it, but he's going to get rid of this as soon as he has it in his hands. So an all-out blitz may not be the trick.
2nd and goal from the 6.
Hardest area of the field to throw a football. Catch it. Throw it. Throw it.
He has to take off. And Doman is stopped and fumbles it. Hawaii picks it up.
And Hawaii fumbles.
Pisatino Isamoa forces it. BYU got it back, but it doesn't matter. Time has expired. And Brandon Doman is shaken up. Oh, what a hit by Tino Isamoa.
Let's remember this play. The only time you can run here is if you're sure you can get in the end zone, because the clock is at 3, it's at 2. What a stick. You got to give Doman credit for being gutsy, but the decision doesn't work. Doman knows he has to get in. Defense wins.
Tino Isamoa, playing with that stress fracture in his leg, laid a licking on Brandon Doman. Cougars' largest deficit of the season. They're down by 3 touchdowns. Reese Davis now has the Saturn College Game Day halftime report. Reese?
Tonight in New York, the Heisman Trophy will be presented, and certainly it's a very difficult call, Mark, and you want to be careful because the 4 guys who are there are most deserving. You and I both say that we would probably vote for Roy Williams if we could vote for any one of the guys who are there. Who do you think is most deserving?
I think it's going to have to be Eric Crouch for what he's done not only this year but his entire career. If you look what the quarterback from Nebraska has been able to accomplish, 59 rushing touchdowns, most ever by a quarterback in Division I football. And I think the impressive stat, he was 11-1 in his senior year. And the loss against Colorado, he couldn't play defense. He didn't give up all those points to Colorado. So, you know, the players that are there are very deserving. They've done some outstanding things. But I think if you look at it, he's a senior. He's led his team to bowl games every year, victories every year. And I think if you want to give it to a player that's deserving of it, I think it's fair to give it to Eric Crouch.
I don't think you could quibble over any of the choices, whoever comes out with the Heisman Trophy tonight. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Lee Corso are all there in New York awaiting the big announcement. They look ahead for us now. Chris?
Well, Times Square, New York City has become Heisman Trophy Central. There is rare suspense here because the awards leading up to this Heisman have been divvied up among the great quarterbacks and the 4 finalists right here. Eric Crouch in Nebraska, Walter Camp, Player of the Year. That's very often a predictor of the Heisman. Wasn't last year, though, when Josh Heupel won it. He also wins the O'Brien Award for quarterbacks. Ken Dorsey, not even a finalist for that award, wins the Maxwell Award for the best overall player, and that's they kind of go their own way. Rex Grossman, AP Player of the Year. Unitas Award goes to David Carr of Fresno State, so there's no clue. We know the ballots came in very, very late. We expect a real close vote.
Typically, when you get ready for the Heisman Trophy, you always know it's either going to be this guy or it's going to be this guy. This is the first year I can ever remember that the 4 finalists, you can actually sit down and make a case for all 4 guys. When they open up the envelope, who knows what's going to happen?
Well, I think what's going to happen is this. I think it's so close that the guy that overwhelmingly carries his region, plus wins the southwestern part of the nation, will win it, because that's the one area that doesn't have a representative.
These are team guys, very unselfish, very proud of the fact that their combined win-loss record this season is 41-4. Guy with the best win-loss record, of course, is Ken Dorsey.
Well, Ken Dorsey, that's his best attribute as a starting quarterback. Number one, he starts for the #1 team in the country. He's undefeated this year, but as a career, he's 25-1 as a starting quarterback. So forget about touchdowns, forget about interceptions. When you're 25-1 as a starter, you're getting it done.
There's numbers, then there's intangibles. Being a clutch player and a master of the drama, we're talking about Joey Harrington.
Joey Harrington, 3 fourth-quarter drives to win for the Ducks this year. He did it 9 times in his career. The things that hurts Joey Harrington the most, played on the West Coast. Didn't see him on TV very much.
Eric Crouch, he did lose his last game in big fashion to Colorado, but he had amazing numbers rushing and passing. It's a rare option-type quarterback that's been able to even contend for this award. Tommy Frazier was second a little while ago.
You mentioned the passing, and I think that's the aspect of his game he improved the most this year. Able to get over 1,000 yards running and throwing, and let's face it, he was the Nebraska offense this year. Without Eric Crouch, Nebraska doesn't have nearly the production that they had this year. He's been a great winner.
Rex Grossman, meanwhile, Danny Werfel-type numbers, but he's a sophomore. No sophomore's ever won it. That's a knock against him in the minds of some voters.
Rex Grossman, by stats alone, I think this, but I don't think he's going to win it. I think he lost it in the 4th quarter when he didn't beat Tennessee and throw that 2-point play in that ballgame. I think with 2 losses, I don't think Grossman's going to win it.
You can make a case for any of the 4. Kirk said plus David Carr, Antoine Randall of Indiana, maybe even a defensive player, but it's going to go to a quarterback. Marquee Saturday night. We'll hope you'll join us for the Heisman Trophy presentation.
Chris, we'll look forward to it, and we apologize for those technical difficulties. I'm sure some BYU kickoff coverage guys are apologizing for their difficulties in stopping Chad Owens 100 yards on the kickoff. Hawaii's up by 3 touchdowns.
We love coming home to Sony.
Sit, Latte.
We like to be entertained.
And when it comes to entertainment, Sony's second to none. So when we heard about the Sony Platinum Select card from Citi, we applied right away. The Sony card gives you Sony reward points for your everyday purchases. And Sony reward points are easily redeemed for anything Sony, CDs, DVDs, electronics, and more. My wife and I bought a Sony Vio notebook, then redeemed our points for some of our daughter's favorite Sony music. Best of all, the Sony card has no annual fee, a low APR, and 0% balance transfer rate until October 1st, 2002. When you sign up now, you'll even get 5,000 points after your first purchase.
Here they are. You can even redeem your points for movie tickets. Come on, let's go.
Thanks to Sony, we love going out, too. The Sony card from Citi. To apply now, call 800-385-0373. That's 800-385-0373.
Back on the College Game Day halftime report, brought to you by Saturn. Stumbled through that. So much for my sponsor reference, huh? Tonight in the SEC Championship game down in the Georgia Dome, Tennessee and LSU. It's another rematch for the third straight year in the SEC. You know, the first time these two teams played up in Knoxville, there was a receiver who burst onto the scene, and it wasn't the guy who ended up winning the Bolitnikoff Award as being the nation's best receiver.
And that was Kelly Washington from Tennessee. And you think about Kelly Washington and his size at 6'4", 225 pounds. He's a very physical presence on the football field. Creates many mismatches for defensive secondary. Here against LSU in the first game, Casey Paulson will drop back. It's excellent protection on his play. He's going to look deep to his left. To Kelly Washington, he breaks the tackle with his size and strength, and he's off to the races for a 70-yard touchdown score. He had 11 receptions for 256 yards. Now, Josh Reed, Bolitnikoff winner. Here it is. Rohan Davey throws deep to him. What he's able to do is he's got tremendous speed, and he has a burst that he can get right behind defenders and make things happen. He creates problems for defenders. He's only 6 foot, about 200 pounds, but what he does, he's very savvy. He does a great job of pushing off with his hands and going right to the football. I think it's going to be a classic battle to find out which one of these receivers can dominate over the opposition secondary.
And Tennessee's run defense has been outstanding. Their pass defense sort of middle of the road. LSU's pass defense has been horrible, 105th in the nation, so we'll see if they can come up with some way to stop Washington, Stallworth, Clausen, and all the guys. Seeing a great receiver in this game, Ashley Lelie. His team's up 31-10.
Saturn is working to keep our economy strong in jobs, in commerce, and in spirit. As part of that effort, we're providing interest-free financing on select 2002 coupes, sedans, and wagons. Come visit your Saturn retailer and keep America rolling.
Where did that come from? I got it from cellular1.com. Forgot about that part.
We're here to see how the new Dremel Advantage rotary saw outcuts its competition. With its variable speed and powerful motor, it'll blast through materials like wood and tile, yet smoothly handle plexiglass, laminates, even drywall. The new Dremel Advantage.
Well, I grew up in this area and I always wanted to come back to BYU and coach here. The players are well disciplined and they have great work ethic. They like to serve and to help other people. I see them out all the time working at the elementary schools, working at Special Olympics. I think they are role models. They are students, and we are trying to educate these young men in becoming very good people, not just football players.
Back on the College Game Day halftime report, presented by Saturn. Division III semifinals, St. John's, Minnesota against the reigning champions, Mount Union, and Chuck Moore of Mount Union had himself a day. Strong run right at you. 5 yards for the touchdown, 7-0 Purple Raiders. Moore again going in, his third touchdown of the day. It was 35-0 there. Moore 47 carries, 233 yards. Mount Union off to the championship game again, where they will face Bridgewater. Bridgewater with 120 points in his last 3 games. They were 29-24 winner over Rowan, and you can see the championship game between Mount Union and Bridgewater next week on ESPN for the Division III championship. This is like Hawaii's bowl game. Ashley Lelie is big time. He's over 100 yards receiving, 6 catches, $143. Hawaii's up 3 touches.
Ooh, it's cold. Yeah.
and you'll have a crystal clear picture of what we believe, who we are, and what we do. Our purpose, our focus, our passion. Celebrating 40 years of the Western Athletic Conference, where actions count.
Welcome back to Aloha Stadium. How about this? Hawaii leading unbeaten BYU by 3 touchdowns at the half. A very wild first half. We saw 9 turnovers combined between the two teams. Now, BYU has had to come back before. Their last 4 ball games have been like this, but now they don't have any Luke Staley. It's going to be tough.
No, it is tougher. That's been evident in the first half. That's been the problem with their offense. Their defense has not played at all. But more to the point, I think it's going to be real hard to come back against this bunch at home. I think this is the toughest competition they've had. Last week was difficult at Mississippi State, but this bunch, that's their bowl game, you know, and they don't like BYU anyway.
And they've been playing like it's their bowl game. And again, this is the biggest deficit they have been under, 21 points. They were down by 14 last week against Mississippi State and came back to win it on the last second field goal by Matt Payne. We are getting ready to get underway here in the second half. BYU down by 21 points with their unbeaten season on the line. They have already accepted and will play in the Liberty Bowl against Louisville, but obviously they would like to keep this unbeaten string. Rigel gets it and takes a knee. BYU will start the second half from the 20. Here's Heather Cox.
Pam, I was in the Hawaii locker room during the half. Nick Rolovich, their starting quarterback, did separate his right shoulder. June James came up to him and said, should I change my play calls because of your shoulder? He said, no, Coach. I can still throw the deep ball. I'll be fine, but I will let you know. Coach Jones obviously very satisfied with the first half. He'd like to see his receivers catch a few more balls here in the second half.
Thank you, Heather. Wow. Rolovich, who separated his left shoulder, had his left shoulder pop out against Fresno State earlier in the year. Popped back in. He came back in, and they beat Fresno. But this is his throwing shoulder that is separated. So we will keep an eye on that. First play of the second half, Reno Mahe lined up as a halfback, and he picks up about 8. Let's take a look at the ESPN2 game track. It was a terrific first half, particularly for Chad Owens. This is his 100-yard kickoff return. He also had a 74-yard punt return for a touchdown. Ashley Lelie, well over 143 yards. He has a touchdown catch for the superstar receiver. And how about Pisatino Isamoa, the big hit, keeping Brandon Doman out of the end zone.
I think that's the biggest play of the first half.
And that was the last play of the first half as Mahe gets it and gets the first down. Gary Croton known for making adjustments during the half. That's a 13-yard gain for Reno. So both plays, he lines up as a halfback and gets the ball to start off the second half.
Well, that's a great point. And they've seen something defensively. They want to exploit it. And this is what he is very, very good at. I think, though, the story is the quarterback situation here. Hawaii could be in big trouble, so BYU has to score. And they can make up a 21-point deficit.
On the first down, Doman looking for Mahe, who wasn't even looking for the football. Falls incomplete.
Well, that is a route that can go either way, inside or outside. Quarterback thought inside, receiver thought outside. Mahe, short. It's well defended. I mean, there were 2 defenders right near him,
including Robert Grant, who is a strong safety and will step up and play some linebacker as well, especially with Matt Wright out hurt. There's Doman's numbers so far. Pretty respectable for anybody else, but he's used to more. He's had to run the ball a lot. He gets a little breathing room up the middle. Nate Jackson comes up with the tackle, but Doman picks up 8.
Off the top, we talked about quarterback turning tailback, and that's what you saw right there. And, you know, he can hit the hole just as quick as a running back because he doesn't have to, you know, a running back has to they're slowed down a little bit in getting the handoff. But on a play like that, you just go.
3rd and 2, BYU 5 of 12 on 3rd down conversions this afternoon.
Last time he audibled into an option.
Ned Stearns is in the backfield with him, and that's no play.
What's Doman talking about? he may have gotten a last-second timeout.
I tell you, it's a good thing, too, because the game clock was running out. He'll talk it over with Gary Croton. We'll be back in Hawaii. Well, welcome back to Aloha Stadium. The University of Hawaii leading BYU 31-10, a very breezy, blustery day in Honolulu. Here's our Aflac trivia question. As BYU comes in 12-0, which was the last team to go 13-0 during the regular season in college football?
Regular season is the clincher there. It was...
We're going to have the answer later if you want to think out loud. Or
I think it was a long time ago. That's hard to do.
Because Oklahoma was 13-0 last year, but that included the bowl. We're talking all regular season. We'll have the answer coming up. 3rd and 2 after the timeout. Doman on the quarterback keeper. And he is very close to the first down. And from here, it looks like he's a little short. Keani Alapa coming up and making the stop.
Well, again, quarterback turned tailback. And they are going for it. I think they have to. But, you know, when we talk to June Jones, he certainly respects Doman mostly as a passer. He says he says he doesn't really concern us as a runner.
And they say it's especially dangerous on a broken play. BYU converted a 4th and 2 earlier in this game. Mahe gets outside, gets the first down and a whole lot more as he is dragged down from behind by strong safety Robert Grant. 15-yard gain on 4th down.
They had about half the team on the left side that time. They had 5 players to the left. Power sweep is effectively what they ran, and you just give little Reno Mahe a little space, Pam, and he's going to stick his head through there. Good blocking.
Mahe originally, when he came to BYU, was a running back. He says he prefers to be a wide receiver, but he's done a good job filling in under bad conditions, tough conditions, as Mike Rigel catches the pass for a gain of 9. BYU getting the football and moving it here in the 3rd quarter. And Luke Staley, not the only running back to go down with injury. Mike Nielsen went down in the preseason, and Brian McDonald tore his ACL in early October. They had hoped that he'd be able to come back. That obviously not the case. And then Luke Staley, what a crushing blow, breaking his leg on the 3rd to the last play of last week's win over Mississippi State. They might get him back for the Liberty Bowl. They're hopeful to try to get him back. Doman is blindsided. And Hawaii gets another turnover. Joe Correa with another big hit. That is the 5th sack of the game for Hawaii.
You can't lay this one all on Doman, but a quarterback has to have eyes in the back of his head, meaning that you've got to be able to feel it and you've got to be able to count to 3 or 4, probably less than that. But, you know, you've got to get rid of it. You've got to know that he's there and dump it.
Great play by Joe Correa, the senior from Pearl City here on the island of Oahu. Lance Semaseva coming up with the fumble recovery.
So does Hawaii come out as aggressively as it did?
Rolovich throwing, separated shoulder and all, and finding Shannon Harris. Brandon Heaney coming up with the stop. And we will keep an eye on Rolovich to see how that separated shoulder affects him throwing it. Now, Brandon Doman also has been playing with a shoulder problem all season long, so we now have 2 quarterbacks who've been dealing with some separated shoulders.
Hawaii has 7 shoulder problems, right, on defense?
Probably about 10 on the team and 7 of them on the defensive side of the ball. You look at Rolovich's numbers, and Nate Jackson, one of them on defense with the shoulder problems. And Rolovich toughing it up with a separated shoulder, takes off and dives towards the first down marker. Brett Kiesel in pursuit.
Well, we're going to see how tough he is, and he comes advertised as being very tough. But if that is a separated shoulder, those types of plays will just wear him out.
That's a first down run, Dean, as he was able to head forward June Jones, known for his work with quarterback. He, of course, was a quarterback in the National Football League, and said he and Rolo are on the same page. Rolovich told us yesterday they watch film now, and they simultaneously will talk and say the same thing, recognize the same things.
That's a good thing.
1st and 10. Give it up to Thero Mitchell. He breaks a tackle somehow and gets something out of what should have been a loss. A 3-yard gain for Mitchell, who seemed dead to rights in the backfield as flags fly late. Mitchell splitting time with Mike Bass in the backfield. He did have 116 yards against SMU earlier this year, but it's a holding penalty against Hawaii.
The tendency is, when you have a lead like this, to come out and play somewhat conservatively.
Holding on the offense, 10-yard penalty from the spot of foul.
But conservatively is probably all relative, isn't it, if you're Hawaii?
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know if they know how to do that.
They don't punt often. They have not punted today. Penalties, a lot of them. But it's a club that doesn't punt often, and now they're in a situation where they may have to. You know, the NCAA average on punts is 5.3 punts per game, per team. So 10.6 kicks, punts a game for both teams. But they're at 0 right now.
And Matt McBriar just had 1 against Air Force in their last game. So 1st and 17. Rolovich unleashing it for Shannon Harris. Makes the catch in BYU territory. Brandon Heaney and Aaron Francisco with the stop, but it's a 25-yard gain.
I don't know how badly that shoulder hurts. That's a perfect throw, and that's not an easy throw. That's a corner route. He runs a post corner, and he has to just lob it because he knows he has the safety beaten on that play.
It was Heaney who was late getting over there. Harris coming in 10th in the WAC with receptions per game, averaging just over 5.2 per game. Remember, he had that touchdown catch here in the first quarter, a 23-yarder. Rolovich in trouble, and he just scooches it up for Stutzmann, who makes the catch. Talk about improvisation. That's 17 yards.
What a play. What a play. You know, that's kind of what you do again in the backyard. You could move around, get away from the guy rushing you in the backyard, and then you just kind of lob it over.
Good like beach football here in Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
Let's go down there and make up stuff.
You've got to have a great feel for the game to be able to do things like that.
And a good job by Stutzmann to hang with it and make the grab. 1st down from the 20. Going for Lelie, who makes the catch and goes into the end zone backwards. Touchdown, Warriors. Check that. It was Tafiti Uso, number 6, who made the touchdown catch, a guy who's been injured, and frankly, we didn't expect to see much of today. Great play by Uso. Uso, one of the 21 seniors playing his final collegiate game, goes out in style, going in for the score. Aye. Extra point is good.
Well, that answers the question, I think, about whether they're going to be aggressive or not.
Tafiti Uso going to go back to Stanford to finish up his econ degree there. We'll give him an A+ for this play. It's a 28-point lead for the Warriors.
Will be selected to walk among legends. The Heisman Trophy presentation presented by Wendy's tonight at 7 on ESPN.
Welcome back to Hawaii, not far from the stadium. That is Waikiki Beach, Diamond Head, the big mountain in the background, and a little sand sculpting by the kid in the sand. That's Dean's, the one in the back, the more impressive one.
It is.
The little kid's catching up to you, though, Dean.
I worked about an hour on it, and the little kid This is tape. A little bit earlier, he knocked it down.
Oh, man. Speedy Uso, the senior from Honolulu, started his collegiate career at Stanford, actually played in a Rose Bowl, but wanted to come home, finish his collegiate playing career here at Hawaii. And he is going to go back to Stanford University to finish with a degree in economics. It's good to have that degree from Stanford, right?
Yes,
That's a smart thing to do. So congratulations to him on his final collegiate game as Hayat, the second time today, kicks a kickoff out of bounds. Let's go back to the touchdown, Dean.
Well, this was a play that he got rid of it quickly. And the key to it is 1, 2, stop it right there. Now, that's when he takes 3 steps. He comes out here, and the defensive back, Phillips, has his back to the ball, and you underthrow those routes, and then a poor job of tackling. He just backed into the end zone. But the cornerback was out of the play, and Phillips has to turn around when he sees the receiver turning to catch the ball.
And Uso, not a particularly big guy, 6 feet 191, using those legs to power himself in, and he does the backflip. Big stuff now for Brandon Doman, who tries to lead his team back as Tino Isamoa will be flagged for tackling Ned Stearns on a ball that really he had no shot of catching. But that will be an interference call and a first down. Andrew Ord was further downfield, a little bit further downfield than Stearns.
Yep.
Pass interference on the defense. Spot foul. First down.
Pam, this was unnecessary on Pisa's part because Ord was not going to make the catch.
I don't think that's where it was flagged. That's Elimimian on Ord. I do think it was Tino Isamoa tackling Stearns before that, a little bit closer to Doman. But anyway, it's a first down as Mahe gets a catch, a shifty little move, and he's out in the open. Reno Mahe goes in for the Brigham Young touchdown. 55 yards for the score.
BYU answers. There was a missed tackle there by Elimimian. But you know what we've been saying and what the coaches all say is Doman makes something when it's really not there. When you get him out of the pocket, get him moving, he's dangerous.
And that was their biggest concern when we talked about June Jones and Kevin Lempa yesterday. And Doman showed you that he can do it. And some nice moves by Mahe once he got out in the open field. Nobody could catch up. Matt Payne in for the extra point. It is good. And BYU does respond nicely, coming right back after the Hawaii touchdown, but they're still down by 21 points. Reno Mahe with a 55-yard touchdown catch from Brandon Doman. Actually, most of it coming on the feet of Reno Mahe to get BYU back to within 21 points. In these quick scoring drives, it's sort of their modus operandi.
It is, and this is the guy who can sure help them there. That is the 12th touch he has had. There's the drive chart. But, you know, we talked about him perhaps getting 11 or 12 touches for the game. You know, receptions or some rushes. He's already touched the football 12 times. He's going to crush that,
yes. BYU kicks it off. Chad Owens already has a 100-yard kickoff return. And a punt return for a touchdown. And this time he has to settle for being dragged down at the 27. Let's go back to Mahe's touchdown.
Remember, Doman back here will be buying some time. Right now, there's the zone is very soft. It's too soft, and so is the tackling. And there's an example of his speed. You mentioned it, Pam. If you get him in open field, you better tackle well.
And boy, there was a good downfield block there by Rod Wilkerson, another one of the wide receivers. The BYU guys priding themselves in their blocking, and that helped open up some space for Mahe. That's all he needed. So Hawaii gets the ball back. We've had both teams scoring on their first drives of the second half, and now Hawaii gets it back. Rolovich over the middle connects again with Shannon Harris, who has been his favorite target today. That is a 13-yard gain.
June Jones telling us yesterday that people talk about how sophisticated and complicated this offense is. And he says, yeah, it sort of is, but it sort of isn't. And his point is, the way their offense is set up for the quarterback is they go to their primary receiver. And if that's not there, like it wasn't there, then they come back to the other 3 receivers, and those other 3 receivers basically run the same type of play, same type of route every time.
As you just saw there, the last touchdown to DeVito Uso set a new record as that one is misfired in the direction of Craig Stutzmann. So 29 touchdown passes on the season, a new Hawaii record. Dan Robinson had 28 2 years ago, and Rolovich is doing it with a separated throwing shoulder. And Shannon Harris has now 7 catches for 100 yards. Ashley Lelie 6 catches for 143. Rolovich over 300 yards yet again. He's thrown for 304 so far in this game. What a way to end his collegiate career. Still got almost 200 yards to go for his 3rd straight 500-yard game, but he's got time. Boy, no time to throw it, but he gets it off in time, and it is caught by Ashley Lelie. 39-yard gain.
The quarterback has to pay for it much of the time, and he's happy, but he's hurt right there. Watch Rolovich. Oh, he gets it. And the only way that that's going to not feel terrible is for this to happen. Lelie is by his man. And what a catch. I mean, what a throw and catch. And that's the example of the continued vertical pressure that they put on a defense.
Lelie creeping up on 200 yards worth of catches. That was Jeff Coward who just plowed into Rolovich, who hung in there till the last instant. 1st and 10 from the 21. Rolovich to Uso. And Uso gets inside, breaks a tackle. He's heading in for his 2nd touchdown of the quarter. Uso has caught 2 passes, both of them for touchdowns.
And he wasn't supposed to play, like you said a little bit earlier. Those inside screens, June Jones will run all day until BYU figures out how to stop it.
Aiyot in for the extra point. And BYU has finally met its offensive match this season. Hawaii can score with the best of them, and they are leading 45-17, and we're not even halfway through the 3rd quarter.
Receivers love this play unless a linebacker meets them a couple of seconds or a couple of steps after they catch this. Inside screen, catch it, and they look upfield, and if the linebacker's not there, eyes get wide open. And when his eyes get wide open, they don't stop him. You know, it just seems like they have an endless number of 5'7", 5'8", 5'9" guys who could just scoot right there. And BYU, Pam, not in the picture, and the ones in the picture have no chance of keeping up with him.
Ashley Lelie with a nice little block and gives us a signal. Another Hawaii touchdown.
Well, we said BYU answered a moment ago. You know, the way it is, if they have to keep answering, it doesn't matter.
The problem is Hawaii comes right back and scores. A sold-out crowd, certainly not disappointed. So far, the Cougars are getting whacked in this game. Justin Aiyot puts it on the ground, picked up by Mike Riddell. And he is pushed out at the 27, where BYU takes over. So the Aflac question, the Aflac trivia question, as BYU trying to be 13-0 this season. Which was the last team to go 13-0 in the regular season?
I saw this, Pam, somewhere. I think it's a long time.
Oh, even before your time. That was when Yale was brand new, way back in 1892. BYU playing 13 games, rather unusual. They played Tulane very early in the season. And they picked up this Hawaii game. You play Hawaii, you can get an extra game on the schedule, and they now have 13. Charlie Peterson now in at quarterback, and he finds Mahe. So we saw Gary Croton do this in the first half, bench Brandon Doman for a series, and Peterson comes in and gets a 30-yard gain.
You know, these leagues may not play great defenses, and it's hard for them to get enough respect to get, you know, BCS recognition. But you talk about teams that can throw and catch. They can do it. There are so many plays during games just like that that are perfectly executed, and there's been more plays here perfectly executed like that than some teams have in 4 or 5 games throwing the football.
And Reno Mahe is down injured on the field, and he's very slow in getting up. And Mahe now has 16 touches, 8 rushes, and 8 receptions. 201 yards of total offense for him. So Gary Croton sees another weapon get hurt. Coming up right after this game on ESPN2, Preston Shumpert leads the Orange Men with over 22 points and 6 rebounds. Syracuse is 9-0. They are perfect. Can NC State beat them? Check it out. 7:30 Eastern time. That is following us on ESPN2. Bernie Fine coaching Syracuse. Jim Boeheim taking a leave of absence to have some surgery. First time Jim's missed a game in his 25-year career.
Wow. You know, this last play was Reno Mahe, and he had a linebacker on him. The linebacker, Alapa, 46, just can't quite keep up. Anytime you can get a man as fast as Reno Mahe out there against a linebacker, your odds go up.
And that is a match that they will take every time. Will BYU 1st and 10 now. Blitz coming, and Peterson cannot escape Robert Grant. That is the 6th time that a BYU quarterback has been sacked today.
Well, he comes blitzing, and Charlie, I thought he felt him. I thought he saw it. I guess he thought his offensive lineman over there on the left side, I think that was Reichert. I guess he thought Reichert was going to take care of it. And Grant's quickness and speed was able to get past the tackle, whichever one it was, and make the play.
Peterson retreating, completes it to Stearns, the halfback, and with a couple of big guys in front of him, he finds more room and is finally dragged down at the 20. 31-yard gain for Ned Stearns. First down.
Well, Pam, that'll slow down a blitz. That is wide open. Hawaii now is coming at the quarterback. I think they are just saying, hey, let's put the pressure on him. And that works a lot of the time. It's either feast or famine. And it was feast the previous play with Grant's sack, and it was famine that time with the screen.
Good thing to see Reno Mahe back in the game. He is in the slot to the left of Charlie Peterson. Peterson, good protection this time. Plenty of time looking in the end zone for his tight end, Doug Jolly, who scores the touchdown.
Croton pushes the right button. He brings Doman out. He puts Peterson in, and Peterson takes him down quickly with some wonderful passes. Wonderful throws.
That was a 21-yard strike. Jolly, who is 6'4" tall, beating Nate Jackson, who's 5'10". So that's 6 inches, and Mahe being helped off by Gary Croton. He is beaten up.
Gary's saying, oh, Reno, this is the last one for a while. Please go back in.
Matt Payne's extra point attempt. It's good.
They answered again.
You like touchdowns? We got touchdowns for you. Back and forth. 45-24, here's Jolly.
But Jolly is one of my favorites. We caught him earlier this year when he had 3 touchdowns in the first half. Big and strong, can run and catch.
Doug Jolly came to Brigham Young as a quarterback, believe it or not. He was switched to tight end during spring drills of his redshirt freshman year. It was a good switch. And on that touchdown play, in which Jolly caught the pass, so Reno Mahe with a bruised calf and he was helped off the field, and the word from the sideline is that he's feeling some numbness in that calf.
Well, feeling the numbness is better than that just piercing feeling. You know, Pam, I'm sure you've had that in your calf when you look at him. Gary Croton is asking him to get back in there, but it feels like a nail has been driven into your calf on some of those injuries.
That's not good.
No, it's better to be numb.
And that was nice. So Gary Croton coming out to help him off as Matt Payne kicks it off to Chad Owens, a special teams hero today, and Owens is enveloped at the 25-yard lines. We have a flag down late on this play.
Yes. I think there was a discussion in the locker room about special teams in BYU's locker room. They've been much better.
Hold against Hawaii on the return.
Holding on the receiving team, 10-yard penalty for the end of the run. First down.
It's sort of like a tennis match, isn't it, Pam? See if you can hold serve.
It's Mike Tanner, one of the BYU players, linebacker, who is hurt on the tackle.
The left leg.
Looks like the left leg planted, and then Owens got a piece of him, and the right leg also got tangled up, so Tanner limps off to the sidelines. Hawaii will have it on the 16. Up by 21 points on unbeaten BYU, and that one is misfired for Uso on the left side. Rolovich says that one is on me.
Hadn't had to say that much, though, has he?
No, he hasn't had to say it much at all during this season, and people who follow football know very well about Timmy Chang, the WAC Freshman Player of the Year last year. Went out in the 4th game of the season this year with a hurt wrist and has not played since. And they haven't really needed him with the way Rolovich has played.
Well, they're racking up points and making the plays. It tells you that the system is wonderful, but you've got to have the talent as well.
Rolovich back to pass, looking and finding Uso again. So another completion for Nick Rolovich, and Heather Cox has his folks standing by. Heather?
I am joined by Michael and Lori Rolovich. And Mr. Rolovich, 500 back-to-back yard games, upsetting the number 8 team. Could you have scripted the finish any better here?
No, it's wonderful. It's wonderful for the university and the state of Hawaii. I'm just so happy for the players, and it's great. It's great for everybody. You know, it's just it's powerful.
Lori, tell us a little about your son's hand signals. It looks like he's signing something into you guys.
Whenever we watch the games at home, he's always doing his 415, which is the San Francisco Bay Area. And so he wanted to do that for friends and family, everybody back home. And we're just incredibly proud of him. Very, very great. And the team is doing awesome.
Congratulations on a great career.
Thanks, Heather. And Uso unable to come up with that Rolo pass. Rolovich has thrown for 378 yards and 4 touchdowns today. And when they watch the games back home in Dale City, California, near San Francisco, after every good play, of course, they chant Rolo, and they also eat Rolo candy by the handfuls. And they hand it out at Halloween. And I know Heather was down there trying to smooch some off the Roloviches. I don't know if she was successful or not, but very supportive family. He got some aunt and uncles out here. He said his grandpa made the trip to California, and he's having a great day so far as he gets another completion, this time to Craig Stutzmann, 3 yards.
Pam, you know me all too well. Of course I had to ask for the Rolos, but they're all out. They ate them in the first half.
Send them out for more. They got ABC stores all over the place here in Hawaii. Heather, send them out. We can do it.
You know, there are a lot of great stories about kids that are good football players or have come back from injury. But how about this story? You know, we were asking him yesterday. He was on the bench. You know, you think that you really didn't have much of a career. He gets his chance, and now he's here, and he'll either be drafted or have a chance to play in the NFL.
And he has set the Hawaii single-season record for most touchdown passes, and if he gets a short completion to Shannon Harris, that is not a first down.
First punt of the day coming up for Hawaii.
Oh, my goodness. Dust off Matt McBriar. We have not seen this kid all day. And again, he only punted once in their game against the Air Force Academy, a 52-30 win. And this kid from Australia, when he gets a hold of him, he gets a hold of him. You see, he has that 69-yarder, a career high. Mike Riel back at his 17 to receive.
I mean, that leg is rested. It's explosive.
It was a 62-yard punt. The bad news is it goes into the end zone and it comes back out. So he's 7 yards short of his season high. My goodness, does he have a thunderfoot? Coming up, more NFL action. Last time we saw Sean Alexander on Sunday night, all he did was run for 266 yards. He'll try to do it again against the Broncos tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. And the AFC West is very interesting. Oakland at 8-3, 2 games in front of Seattle. Denver is 2.5 back. Should be fun. Sean Alexander, great running back out of Alabama. Fun to watch. Peterson still playing quarterback, and Andrew Ord tries to make the circus catch but can't quite come up with it. So 2 straight series now, Dean, that we have seen Peterson and not Doman at quarterback.
Well, I think that Gary Croton is just, you know, he says this game is huge. We cannot afford to play a player who's not having a good day. And I think you just kind of dial in the one that is playing the best. Right now, Charlie Peterson is.
Remember, Doman has never lost a game as a starting quarterback at BYU. 12-0 this year. He also won the last 2 last season. Peterson, plenty of time to find Wilkerson, but that is knocked away. Sean Butts coming up in the last second, and Wilkerson is now shaken up. Boy, we've seen a lot of hard hits in this football game.
Yeah. Hawaii sitting back in zone. And they're going to give some of those curl routes, but not when you throw them high like that. And I think that Peterson held on to that ball a little too long.
The training staff is out looking at Wilkerson, who is the fastest player on this team. He's only a freshman, 6'1", 175. Tore the meniscus in his right knee. You see the sleeve on it against New Mexico back on October 13th, but he is up. Mahe, by the way, is still on the sidelines for BYU.
Maybe the breath knocked out of him there?
You can hope that's what it is, because he did hit the turf hard. And again, remember, BYU has not played on turf all season. This stuff is pretty hard. Reno Mahe with the touches.
16 touches today. And, of course, they've thrown the ball to him several times that they were incomplete. So he's had an opportunity for over 20 touches so far. BYU had 55 total plays in the first half.
3rd and 10 from the 20.
Coming at him.
Blitz picked up nicely. Peterson, time to find Toby Christensen making his first catch of the day. Todd's little boy with a 15-yard gain in the first down.
Well, that's a great pickup there by both the quarterback and the receiver, because it was a zone blitz. Right here's what we're looking at. That's Christensen. Zone blitz coming. He finds the little pocket of resistance.
Toby, just a sophomore from Alpine, Utah. The son of our ESPN colleague, Todd Christensen.
Yeah.
I have a feeling is watching this back home.
Yeah.
Very proud of his son.
Great hands on him.
I wonder where he got that from. Probably from his mom, right?
I think he's got a lot better hands than his daddy did. No, that was, I think he has a nice future.
8 catches on the season for him. Another player is shaken up.
I think some of these injuries, Pam, were injuries that these guys had coming into the game.
Let's take a look at this 3rd quarter so far, Dean. Joe Correa with a big hit on Brandon Doman.
How about that throw?
Craig Stutzmann. Tafidi Uso with a terrific effort to get his first of 2 touchdowns. Reno Mahe making something out of something with his speed and his quick feet.
Great downfield blocking we haven't talked about much.
And here's Uso's second touchdown of the game. And finally, Doug Jolly over Nate Jackson. Peterson has thrown himself a touchdown.
Boy, if you like passing, this is a day that you'll just love.
Jacob Espiau was the Hawaii player shaken up. Peterson decides to throw it to Rigel downfield. It's tipped away. Boy, Peterson looked like he changed his mind about 2 or 3 times and then decided to chuck it down. Sean Butts on the coverage.
Pam, it's so unusual to have that much time. You sort of go, hold it, somebody has to be coming at me, and I got to find someone because I've got all this time, and then you still kind of just force it down there. I think that some quarterbacks in that situation are able to scramble around because you have linebackers and defensive backs so deep.
Doug Jolly, his tight end, by the way, was wide open on that play, a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage, but he decided to throw it long. Second down. Peterson on the outside, and a flag is thrown. Andrew Ord covered by Hiram Peters. Boy, and Peters looked like he got there right when the ball got there. Maybe a little bit too close.
Well, that was close, wasn't it? And it's far side from us, but it looked like it might have been a great play. So
pass interference on the defense, spot foul, automatic first down.
Pam, he's one of those little guys. He's about 5'8", but what he lacks in height, he makes up with his smarts, although that wasn't the smartest play.
Very, very close call. And Peters is an interesting story. He was 1 math credit short of getting into Hawaii. He had a high enough SAT, but he took time, went 1 semester to a community college and worked at Sunset Foodland, a little food store, to get enough money, and he came in and enrolled at the University of Hawaii and eventually got himself a scholarship. Peterson gets himself a sack, and he loses the football. It's fumbled again. The Warriors pick it up. Lance Sanaseva has 2 fumble recoveries. 6 turnovers for BYU.
And Hawaii has had a few itself. They have 5 and 45 points. You know, Pam, there's been some really hard hitting today, but it's been sloppy in that regard. You have to hold on. You have to protect that football.
And remember, it is windy today, but, you know, we've had a little bit of rain. The football can't be wet.
No.
It's a beautiful day, but we've had 11 turnovers between the 2 ball clubs. 1st and 10 for Hawaii from the 18. Hero Mitchell gets outside, heads for the sticks, but he is tackled by Aaron Francisco from behind. That was a crazy last sack with a couple of fumbles.
Well, it wasn't. And watch Peterson. I think that he tried to make something of nothing. See, he tries to hand it off, and Stearns takes it. And then he loses it.
Tino Isamoa coming up with the second forced fumble on that crazy play. And you're right. I mean, trying to give it to Stearns on that play, and you figure Doman might have known better.
Yeah, well, you just take what they give you, and they weren't giving that up. You can't give points away right.
They've given up enough already, giving up 45 on the day. Rolovich in the end zone for Lelie, and that is knocked away. Gennaro Guilford with the good coverage.
Best coverage of the day by Guilford.
Guilford is a man often out there. Must seem like he's out on an island because he covers these great receivers every week.
Watch him turn around. See, he saw the head of Lelie look back real quickly. He looks back, it's in perfect position, and knocks it away.
Guilford, just a sophomore. That's the most impressive thing about this young man. He has 2 more years left, and he was first team All-Mountain West Conference, according to Football News, this year. He leads the team with 6 picks on the season. Rolovich throws it away. Stutzmann was guarded by Heaney. Fidi Uso, he was looking for him. He missed him. Danny Phillips was on Uso, and in the left side of the end zone, Stutzmann was also well covered, so really no place to go.
Throws it away. Good decision.
Brings up 3rd and goal now for Hawaii. This would be a big stop for this BYU defense. If you can hold them to a field goal, that would be a huge stop.
I don't think June kicks field goals.
I don't think so. They're 1 for 7 on 3rd downs are the Warriors on the day. 3 receivers to Rolovich's left. He's looking that way, and he finds his receiver for the touchdown. That's Craig Stutzmann, the senior captain.
Is that another celebration?
It's got to be. You can't kick the ball out of the end zone without 3 flags coming in.
Do you know how hard a throw that is?
And now more flags because Stutzmann and another of his teammates went over the barriers on the sidelines to celebrate with the fans.
You know, well, it's one thing to have a celebration penalty, but then you have a second, and then you have a third, and then a fourth. At some point, a little more discipline needs to be inserted there. But all of this comes about because of a remarkable throw and catch.
And right now, with a 51-24 lead, these Hawaii players are certainly enjoying it. But we saw June Jones over there trying to get his guys back to the sideline. And on most of the touchdowns today, we've seen these flags for excessive celebration. And we hear from the sidelines now that Craig Stutzmann has been thrown out of the game.
When's the last time you saw a college player thrown out of a game? There's a trivia question
Well,
for
he
you.
was flagged the first time for kicking the ball out of the end zone, and then he went over and celebrated with the fans, and that must have been the second flag.
Watch this ball, just perfectly thrown. I watched this yesterday in practice, some goal line situations. That's not smart.
And he and Shannon Harris and Tafiti Uso, they all go up, try to do the Lambeau leap at Aloha Stadium, and this is one heck of an extra point. This will be a 50-yard attempt for the extra point by Ayat. And he nails it.
When it's your day, it's your day.
Hawaii leads it 52-24. Celebration time on the islands. They wanted nothing more than to come out and spoil BYU's unbeaten season. And Dean, this has been even wilder than we imagined.
Yeah, and I think it was, who was it yesterday? Maybe it was Lelie, the receiver. I think he said that this is the biggest game in the history of Hawaii football.
It was Ashley Lelie, the wide receiver, and Nate Jackson actually was the Hawaii native who was mentioning how much he really, really wanted this football game. Lelie has been here since he was a sophomore in high school, and he also is having a good time. Let's go down to Heather Cox now with an injury report. Heather?
Thanks, Pam. Bad news for BYU Cougar fans. Quarterback Brandon Doman has a bruised right knee as well as bruised ribs. Reno Mahi is in the locker room getting his knee evaluated, also suffering from that hip pointer. It is doubtful whether or not either of them will return. I am told that neither one will because of the score. If we're a little bit closer, they probably could go.
All right, Heather, and obviously these guys do have another game. It will be on December the 31st, as it seems, Dean, from what Heather's saying, that, you know, that if it were closer, obviously, they might be throwing in the towel now, which is sort of unusual.
Well, that is not Gary Croton. With an offense like this and a defense like Hawaii that typically has been porous, there's a lot of time on that clock. I got to believe that they're still gunning at it. I mean, they have no reason to not go hard, and maybe they rest a player because of a chance of hurting the player a little bit more. I think you have to assume they're going at it.
And we're counting down to the Heisman Trophy presentation, which is being seen on ESPN. The Heisman Trophy presentation brought to you by Wendy's. Ken Dorsey, Joey Harrington, Eric Crouch, Rex Grossman. Who would you vote for? ESPN will have the answer tonight. It is currently on ESPN because it is after 7 o'clock Eastern time, well after 2 o'clock Hawaii time here. Kevin Lempa, the defensive coordinator. A much maligned defense, but it's fun talking to Lempa, who's from Hartford, Connecticut. And he says, you know, all that matters is that we score one more point than the other guys. And that's what they did. That great game against Miami of Ohio.
Yeah.
They got Sean Butts with he blocked the extra point, and that enabled Hawaii to come down and win the game. And they won, was it 52-51? Great game.
Yeah.
Because he knows he has an offense that can score. There is Mahe. Back in the game despite the hip pointer, despite the bruised calf. Hiram Peters with the hit. It's only a 4-yard gain.
That was a great play by Peters out there to fight off the blocker. He was actually on the ground and gets back up and tackles a mighty might.
So Mahe certainly hasn't packed it in as he comes back in. Peterson playing quarterback for Brandon Doman. Fake, he retreats, middle screen to Stearns, who gets the first down. Into Hawaii territory, stopped at the 42. That's a 15-yard gain. Jacob Espial, the safety, coming up with his 6th tackle of the game.
Great play design, great play call, and great execution. You know, I don't think we mentioned it much here in the second half, but the fact of the matter is Luke Staley, the Doak Walker Award winner, the best runner in the country, cannot play for this BYU team.
And boy, do they miss him. They've missed him all game long. Peterson completes it to Mahe. Mahe has been a true warrior for the Cougars today. It's an 8-yard gain for Reno Mahe. And you mentioned Luke Staley, and you're right, Dean. The numbers are unbelievable.
First there, first NCAA touchdowns, 3rd yard. I mean, what numbers he's racked up.
Accounted for 60% of their rushing offense and 30% of their scoring. He had 28 touchdowns on the season. 170 points.
He just makes, look at those numbers, he just makes defenses play honest. Play him and the BYU offense so much differently than they're playing today.
Hawaii takes the timeout, and Mahe has to be a little bit winded. We saw him after practice on Thursday, and he said he felt it was warm. And it's really got to be warm now with all the pads and all the work and the helmet and all the stuff that he has had to do this afternoon.
You know what we haven't seen much today, Pam, that BYU typically does? We haven't seen option. And when you don't have Luke Staley back there, you don't have an option.
The option would be Dolman keeps it,
right?
Basically.
You know, and that's not an option. That's a staple of this offense.
Gary Croton again, just a wonderful job that he has done with this team. Coming in, this team was not picked. Colorado State was the favorite to win the Mountain West Conference this year. BYU picked 3rd by most people, and they run the table. The first undefeated Mountain West Conference champion in the brief history of the conference. And they're going to the Liberty Bowl, where they will play Louisville, and that should be a fun game. A little Dave Ragone action against BYU, so not what they expected. They'd like the chance at the BCS Bowl bid, but they'll go to the Liberty Bowl, and it should be a good one. 2nd and 2 after the Hawaii timeout. Peterson looking deep, and he's got Wilkerson, who could not quite hang on. What an effort by the 6'1" freshman. And now Wilkerson is staying down. We saw him do that earlier in the game. We saw him take some time getting up.
This ball was almost perfectly thrown. It's out of Wilkerson's grasp by just a little. You have to time your jump, but I don't think that Randy Moss could have caught that one.
Wow, and that's got to hurt coming down flush on your back on the AstroTurf.
Well, on the turf, you know, I think that has to be a part of the problem here as well. They're so used to playing on natural, on grass, and there's a cushion there, of course. I think this stuff ought to be outlawed. Look, grass everywhere.
Here's a good look at Wilkerson, who is being helped off his feet. The fans here applaud for him. Considered to be, again, the fastest guy on this team. And it looks like it probably was just the wind knocked out of him. You played on artificial turf.
No, that's why I hate it.
Like heck, huh?
That's why I hate it. Not only do you get burns all over your body, you get concussions, which Back in the old days, you didn't know what a concussion was, just a real bad headache, but it's terrible stuff.
3rd and 2. Peterson keeps it and gets the first down. Turning the corner and is shoved out of bounds. And a late flag, or a flag, I should say, for a late hit. Jacob Espiau coming in and pushing him over those barriers again. Well
Pam,
out of bounds.
Pam, I want to finish the thought, though. The turfs, the one I played on was horrible, and there are some terrible ones around the country. Philadelphia had one that the Eagles played on that's just miserable. Some are good, but overall, not many. And I think that Harvard club that, what they win, 13 in a row regular season?
Late hit out of bounds. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
They didn't have artificial service.
Let's go quickly to Reese Davis in the studio.
Well, Pat, we know some folks are tuning in for basketball. Syracuse, North Carolina State. There's Preston Shumpert, nearly 23 points per night. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that for you. We'll keep you up to date. Right now, let's go back to football.
All right, Reese, we look forward to college basketball coming up. But right now, we have a lot of scoring left to go in this one. Ball in the Hawaii 12, 1st and 10 after the late hit. Pass is complete to Wilkerson, who comes right back in and is close to another first down for BYU.
Both of these offensive lines have had great days. I mean, the BYU one, we got another injury. That's another one of the shoulders.
Yep, that's Espiau going out.
But sometimes the offensive line gets just taken for granted. You know, when you have past teams, but both of these groups are giving the quarterbacks, for the most part, plenty of time.
1st and goal from the 2. Peterson has to improvise and is knocked down from behind by Wayne Hunter, sophomore from Honolulu. We saw Espiau go out. You mentioned his shoulder, Dean, and he actually has been playing with a brace on that shoulder, one of several defensive players who've been affected by shoulder injuries this season.
The guy you're looking at is someone they have a lot of hope for. Another one of the Honolulu high school graduates. Big and has a mean streak.
Full house backfield into Jolly in the end zone. Touchdown.
There's my guy. Boy, I'd throw to him all day.
Nate Jackson beating on that play on Gary Croton. All right, Charlie, and I tell you, that's 2 touchdown catches for Jolly. And you mentioned we had him earlier in the season with the 3 touchdown catches and the 177 yards. At that time, a Mountain West Conference record against Air Force.
Jolly has the size of a tight end and the athletic ability, the quickness and agility of a running back or a wide receiver.
3 catches for 28 yards and 2 touchdowns for Doug Jolly, as that extra point by Matt Payne is true. There have been some great series, or great games in this series. Robbie Bosco was a quarterback at BYU during their perfect championship season in 1984, and they had a great game against Hawaii. The leap of faith. The sack on the 1-yard line. Kyle Morrell for the goal line stand against Hawaii right here in Honolulu. Quarterback Rafael Cherry is stopped, and Bosco to Glenn Kozlowski on the next drive. That was in September of that season. BYU held on to win it 18-13 and went on to be undefeated national champions.
Robbie Bosco. Yeah. Been here ever since, hasn't he?
He's now the quarterback's coach, talking things over with Charlie Peterson, and they would really need not just the leap of faith, they'd need a whole lot of faith and some miracles mixed in to come back in this game.
Just 3 touchdowns down.
And of course, if you had the BCS alignment, the BCS right now, BYU would not have won the national championship back in 1984.
Yeah,
things have changed, and boy, doesn't BYU know it. They are unbeaten and don't even have a chance to play in a BCS bowl.
What about the system if Tennessee loses to LSU? Nebraska probably goes. Nebraska didn't win the North Division of the Big 12 Conference.
That was smart not to kick it to Chad Owens that time, wasn't it? It's a touchback. They'll get it on the 20. Let's go to Reese Davis.
All right, Pam, they are underway at the Carrier Dome. North Carolina State got a bucket from Josh Powell. Looks like a dunk from the freshman Craig Forth there from Syracuse to tie it up at 2. We will keep an eye on that right now. Back out to BYU in Hawaii, where you guys might have more points in your game than State and Syracuse have in the basketball game.
Yeah, I was going to say, Reese, you might be done with that game before we're finished with ours. NC State and Syracuse, and Reese is hanging in there to keep you up to date on that basketball game. But tell you what, there's a good chance one of those teams might score 52 points. Rolovich gets it off, looking for Lelie. Guilford was all over him with the blanket coverage. No flag. Sellout crowd of 50,000. It's the first sellout since the opening game last year.
Guilford's playing much better. You know, he's all over it, though. NFL, that's okay. Look at him. He's got him hooked.
Boy, Guilford, he's really seen a lot of action, and there's that sellout crowd I talked about. They sold out the season opener in 2000 against Portland State, coming off that great bowl 9-win and bowl victory season. June Jones' first. And a sellout today. Rolovich looking, and another incompletion and another hard hit. Guilford on Lelie.
That one was thrown high, but it had zip on it, so Guilford was going to be there anyway, regardless of if it had been on target.
3rd and 10 upcoming, and June Jones taking over that 0-12 team, Fred Von Appen, and then in his first year they win 9 games, win a bowl game, a little roller coaster in 2000, and this year, what a way to rebound.
Yeah, he's done it twice. See him send in the plays? He runs the show offensively.
Does not have an offensive coordinator. Gary Croton calls his own plays for BYU, but Mike Borage is his offensive coordinator. Rolovich has Lelie all by himself. An 80-yard touchdown for Lelie. Guilford was on the coverage, and he pulled up lame way upfield, or fell down, and he's limping as he got up.
Right there.
And it's all over, Dean.
Well, Lelie will make you do that occasionally. He'll confuse you. You know, Lelie told us yesterday that he likes to test the cornerbacks early. See if he can get by them with his speed. And if he does, he says, I know I'm all afternoon. No, I have them all afternoon. And if I can't, I know I need to use more technique.
6 touchdowns for Rolovich as Justin Iott puts in the extra point. Or missed it, actually. It was wide right. So it's still 58-31. The last 3 games. This is a season for some guys. Man, 18 touchdowns in his last 3 games against just 3 interceptions.
The run and shoot of June Jones. Forget the run. I think it's just the pass and shoot.
And the 58 points given up by BYU today. The most before this was Utah State, who scored 58 points against him back in 1993. That was 3 games after they gave up 68 points to UCLA. So that 93 team had given up a lot of points. And boy, Nick Rolovich has been something. Now the Heisman, we're going to give out the Heisman today, and nobody's going to have numbers like Nick Rolovich has had the last 3 games. Who would your pick be?
Well, it's close. It depends when people voted, you know. But I'm going to go with Grossman, the young Florida quarterback. Dorsey will be close, I think. Roy Williams is a consideration.
Yeah, there you go. Sneak your guy in there.
Well, he's pretty good.
Absolutely. There are a lot of great players who aren't in the Heisman finalist list, and you get all those quarterbacks in there. Everybody loves quarterbacks for some reason. I don't get that deep.
Yeah, you don't like him at all, do you?
I like Nick Rolovich today.
Who do you think will win?
I think Grossman will win.
Who would you vote for? Or did you vote for? Either one.
Do you think they'd give me a vote? A schmo like me? Rigel gets it at the 10, and he is up to the 23-yard line. Let's go back to Reese Davis. Reese, Ashley Lelie's pretty good.
Yes, he is pretty good, and North Carolina State looking pretty good in the early going. They've jumped on top of Syracuse 12-3. They're barely 3 minutes into the game. Bernie Fine, of course, coaching the Orangemen during Jim Boeheim's absence with his prostate situation. It's a 12-3 game. We'll keep an eye on it for you.
All right, thanks, Reese. We appreciate it, doing the double duty. And Nick Rolovich, no wonder they ran out of that Rolo candy in the first half. They would have had to bring like 10 pounds of it to celebrate appropriately for what he has done today. Third down, or third quarter winding down. On first down, that one is thrown too long, and it's intercepted by Hiram Peters.
Nightmares for BYU and its fans. They've come into a jungle, and they don't know if they will escape.
Hiram Peters, a native here in Hawaii, moved to Utah with his family where he played 3 years of high school ball, moved back to Hawaii with his sister because he wanted to graduate with his Hawaiian friends. His family wanted him, some in his family wanted him to go to BYU. He said, I'm going to Hawaii. And the senior is having a terrific time, or the sophomore having a terrific time this afternoon with the interception.
Damn, Hawaii's going to be good for a long time, as long as June Jones is here.
And he says he would like to hang around for a long time. Lelie is not Superman, as he was unable to bring in that bullet. We showed you Rolovich's numbers the last 3 games. How about this kid? Ashley Lelie in the last 3 games.
8 touchdowns, and his average 33 yards per reception. I think it was June telling us that they had to call back I think they called back a 90-yarder and maybe a 65-yarder. If they hadn't have done that, he would have led the nation in yards per catch.
An unbelievable season. And remember, Ashley Lelie is a junior. Rolovich stepping up, and he's got his man wide open in the middle of the field. It's Tafiti Uso. 28-yard gain. Rolovich is just having a field day against this BYU defense. That's the end of the third quarter. Hawaii has 58
is down 7 to NC State, 21-14. NC State's jumped out to a 16-5 lead, largest deficit Syracuse has faced all season. The Orangemen are undefeated, but they've come back with some outside shooting. Is Sean Williams, who just hit a 3 there, and Preston Shepard have hit 4 threes to make it closer. Jim Boeheim not here. Prostate surgery on Monday. Jim is back in St. Louis watching as Bernie Fine, his longtime assistant of 26 years as the head coach. And Len, your early thoughts on what we've seen here?
Well, so far the basket's awfully big. Both teams are shooting the ball. I'm particularly impressed with NC State attacking this Syracuse zone. We know they have a young front line, but they've been able to go inside, kick it back outside, get some timely threes, and really gotten enough confidence to stay in this basketball game.
Both teams have hit 4 3-pointers. NC State 4 of 6. Syracuse 4 of 7. Both of these teams have excellent perimeter games. It's a big game for NC State because this is the kind of team that needs to have an important non-conference win. It sounds early to start talking about that, but Len, they've lost to Ohio State, lost to UMass, and this is a program that really desperately wants to and needs to get to the NCAAs this year.
Well, absolutely. Herb Sendek in his 6th year. The previous 5, they haven't.
Look at this, 65-31. Nick Rolovich has just completed his 7th touchdown pass of the game. Pam Moore joined by Dean Blevins and Heather Cox down on the sideline. The 8th score today that took less than 2 minutes for Hawaii. 8th today. Peterson completes his pass to Doug Jolly. Let's take a look at that touchdown that people missed.
Here's the receiver up top, and Staley holds on and holds on and holds on, and Harris spurts at the end. Great catch, but an even better throw. Rolovich running out of pressure and chunks it.
Shannon Harris, 9 catches for 123 yards and 2 touchdowns as Mahe goes out of bounds in Hawaii territory, but a flag is down. Here's the score by quarters. We knew we were in for something after the first quarter, but look at the third. 27-21. and Hawaii scores on its first play of the fourth quarter. Penalty against BYU will negate that Mahe gain.
Hawaii is
holding on the offense. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
Pam, I think it's easy to see why Hawaii is a team that plays in streaks. Listen to these numbers. They had a 20-0 streak, a 12-zip streak, a 24-zip streak, a 23-0 streak. And I don't know what it's been here today. But they can put points on the board. If they get their defense going, you better watch out.
Kevin Lempus is all you have to do. I mean, right now they just have to hold BYU to 64 and they win. It's amazing. Stearns catches the pass. And he is dragged down near midfield by Pisatino Isamoa.
I cannot believe you with these names. I mean, I had trouble. In fact, I didn't come with the Lelie. I mean, I said his name in my sleep. I still couldn't pull it. And you're throwing these 8-syllable words.
Peace is a heck of a football player. Played his high school ball in California. He was both the offensive and defensive players of the year. He's been a terrific defender as Halliday is near that. Here comes the ESPN2 game track. Strap yourself in. This could be take a while. Let's go with the game track. Chad Owens, it seems like years ago when he did this. 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown and a 74-yard punt return for a touchdown. Nick Rolovich over 500 yards, 7 touchdowns. Uso has 2 of them. That's 1. And here is Tafiti's second. And Ashley Lelie is a tremendous receiver. Gennaro fell down on that play. It was a gimme for Lelie. Over 260 yards of work for him as Paul Peterson now is in the backfield. Charlie Peterson remains the quarterback. Again, if you're just joining us, Brandon Dolman on the sidelines. He's got some bruised ribs. He's been knocked around today. And he is pretty much done for this game. A terrific season for Dolman, who, like Nick Rolovich, had to wait until his senior season to really get a chance and come into his own.
Yes, he did. He came into his own. He missed Luke Staley, and I'm going to say it again, that Luke Staley, a pickup of 11 there, Pam, you know, a player of Luke Staley's ability is going to keep a team motivated. He's going to score more points, and I just don't think there's going to be a separation in the score the way it was. Who's to say that, you know, that they're going to come out and win the game, but I just don't think it gets like this.
Peterson on the keeper. He had completed an 11-yard pass to Toby Christensen for a first down. The play before that is a 6-yard gain. And there's no disputing that, Dean. And I think we see, the whole country sees just how valuable Luke Staley has been to this team. And remember, Luke will be back next year as a senior. You talk about Heisman.
Yeah.
I think let's start the campaign now, because he's showing by his absence today just how valuable and how good he is. And we already knew that he was very good.
Very, very good.
Peterson on the run, looking and finding his receiver, Reno Mahe, who got behind 2 Hawaii defenders inside the 10. Boy, Mahe has been working hard and playing with that hip pointer.
Well, this was a great play by the quarterback, but Mahe keeps the play alive, and I'm in amazement about how well these teams and these conferences that throw it a lot are able to make those types of plays, Pam, look routine. That's a highlight type play at another school.
He has 11 catches for 162 yards. Peterson takes off Mahe with the block. That is illegal. The touchdown will come back. Mahe blocking Abraham Elamimian, and that's where the flag came in.
Push in the back.
And that's the kind of day it's been for BYU. One of the few mistakes that Reno Mahe has made in this game, doing yeoman's work.
Block in the back on the offense, 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
Because he is their most dangerous receiver anyway, their biggest playmaker. Now he not only has to do that, but he has to pick up the slack of Staley in the backfield, and that is That is the job that 10 good players would have trouble with. Reno's touched the ball 19 times today for 231 total yards, but here's the penalty upcoming.
You can't push in the back. You can block. You can push someone in the front. That's a ticky-tack call at this stage of the game.
And it always seems, too, when you make a play like that and you put your hands up in the air,
right.
It's almost like, I think I know I did something wrong.
Yeah.
And it was very close, but it brought the touchdown back. First and goal from the 11. Peterson regains the football and then just goes out of bounds. And now another late hit flag. Tino Isamoa gets him on the sidelines.
Cheerleaders after the players.
Yeah, some of the people standing on the sidelines, including the BYU cheerleaders, getting into it, and this is getting ugly.
Now there's a first.
How about a cheerleader being thrown out? Well, that happened. Wow. He's got Robert Grant's over there, John, at a cheerleader.
Yep, we've had it all now. Watch the end of this one.
On the defense. After this is to the goal. Automatic first down.
Well, look at that guy going after Pisa. Sometimes,
you know what? If you really put yourself in that guy's position, though, you're frustrated. You come all the way out here. You've been with your team forever, and you've got some guy from the other team putting your nose in the dirt and trying to hurt one of your guys. You might react.
And now they're getting too close to the cheerleaders, too. I mean, now we're talking about maybe cheerleader injuries. So, you know, Samoa is flagged for being far too aggressive on that play. Tough day to be a BYU cheerleader. Not much to cheer about, and then the big guys come after you. There's no crying and cheerleading. Come on.
One of those brutes after you there is. You're tough.
Oh,
You're
come on.
tough.
Suck it up.
I'm the one that's not tough. Don't get after me, girl.
Oh, boy, this has been some football game, and we are going, Dino, we're coming up on 4 hours here, hon.
I told you at least 4 hours. I told you at least 102 points, and we're getting there.
Oh, absolutely. First and goal from the 6. Peterson on the keeper, and he is dragged down literally by his ankle. Joe Correa grabbing and holding on for dear life. And more chippiness inside. We have got 12 minutes even, and now a little under as the clock starts to run, left to go in this fourth quarter. NC State with a 7-point lead over Syracuse. Syracuse, number 9 in the country. They've only scored 47 points in that game. Come on, boys.
Hey, you're getting spunky all of a sudden.
We got 96 right here.
After 4 hours, you get a little bit spunky.
I'm a little punchy. Here comes Mahe. Oh, and he goes down. Flags fly.
Pam, that's his 20th time to touch the ball. I mean, number 20 touches it 20 times. He ought to fall down. He ought to fake an injury.
Mahe, tough kid with a very difficult job today. Frank White is our referee, a whack crew.
Holding on the offense, 10-yard penalty, remains second down.
It's the 23rd penalty of the game. Hawaii has 14, BYU 9.
Here's a couple of other stats for you. BYU, 9 fumbles, 6 of them lost.
Mahe really had nowhere to go on this play, Dean.
Well, he's kind of banged up, too.
Yep, got that hip pointer and the hurt calf, and he's not a big guy. He's listed at 5'11", 190, and he is, 5'11" would be a stretch. Peterson trying to run the option, and keeps it and goes down to the 5.
You've got to appreciate his guts, and I love the formation and play call. Croton's still creative. He's getting burned badly in this game, but He put a couple of tight ends out to the right. Is Peterson hurt?
Yes, he is. Doug Jolly, the tight end, was signaling for some help. Look, Peterson looks woozy. And remember, Doman is already hurt. Todd Mortensen, a freshman from Tempe, Arizona, would be the next quarterback to come in. But let's see the decision. It is Mortensen. Todd Mortensen, a 6'4" freshman from Tempe, comes in. Peterson is just woozy because his head hit the turf.
Well, you know what I said about turfs and head injuries. Boom. Had that happen too many times, Pam, to not know what it feels like. I mean, that's a bad, bad feeling. He has a major headache right now, and it won't leave until about Wednesday.
And this young man, Todd Mortensen, has thrown 3 passes for 3 of 6, I should say, for 18 yards. But he gets a touchdown to Reno Mahi on his first pass of this game.
Oh, that's wonderful for him. Wonderful.
Wow. Peterson again coming in, only throwing 6 passes on the season, completed 3 of them for 18 yards coming in. First throw today was a touchdown.
How good is this? His reaction is wonderful to yes. Forget the score. And about this time he's saying comeback. Is there a comeback?
Matt Payne in for the extra point. We still got 10:37 left to go. And Payne knocks it through. Todd Mortensen, first play, touchdown. We're over 100 points.
A little late to mount a Nick Rolovich for Heisman campaign, but we did have a Heisman winner just a few moments ago at the Marriott Marquis in Times Square, New York. Here's James Corcoran of the Downtown Athletic Club.
Santa hanging loose. And, you know, Santa is watching this game. You got to be really loose if you're an Hawaii fan. We were up to 103 combined points in this game. Hawaii has 65, the second most points ever scored against a BYU football team. The record is 68. UCLA scored that against them in 1993. And we have plenty of time left for that. So after the touchdown, here comes Chad Owens. He of 2 touchdowns on returns earlier in this game. Let's go down to Heather Cox now with an update from the Hawaii sideline. Heather?
Well, the offensive line coach Mike Cavanaugh during that last series told the O-line that the boss, meaning June Jones, has not called off the dogs. Hawaii respects this BYU offense way too much to start sliding here.
And it doesn't look like, of course, the passing offense certainly has not slowed down any. And Mike Cavanaugh is the offensive line coach. He dubbed his guys the 40-pounders for the way that they pound guys into the ground, as Theo Mitchell gets lots of daylight and a first down run. Hawaii runs the football. 16-yard gain for Mitchell. We've seen him more than Mike Bass. Bass, the freshman who led this team coming into this game in rushing with 549 yards on the season, or about 1,000 less than Luke Staley had when he went out with his injury with BYU.
Who do you think will win the Heisman?
I might go with that Nebraska.
I'm going to switch mine to Crouch. That's actually who I'm voting for.
Really? You get a vote?
Yeah.
Wow, what a system. We're inside 10 minutes in this game as Rolovich hands it off again to Mitchell. And Hero gets it up close to midfield.
Pam, you know, my Heisman ballot, I did have Eric Crouch first. His career, but certainly this year, was wonderful, and it wasn't his fault. Colorado scored 62 points on his team. And I had Roy Williams of Oklahoma second. His career has been incredible. He's only a junior. And then I went with Freeney out of Syracuse, because really just despite, just despite it.
Get some defensive guys in there.
That's right. Next year I'm going with a kicker. I'm going to go with an extra point guy.
So Eric Crouch, the Heisman Award winner this year. Very, very close vote. Rolovich for Lelie. And even the wonderful Ashley Lelie couldn't adjust to that one in time. Aaron Francisco was closest to the football. And Heather talked about not calling off the dogs. I mean, you have a huge lead, 65-38, and we're seeing Lelie in. We're seeing all the first teamers still in there for Hawaii. And again, they are only 3 points away from scoring, tying the record for the most points ever given up by a Brigham Young football team.
Well, Heather said that they respect the offense of BYU. They must really respect it.
Third down, and that is wide open for Shannon Harris, who had the first down and stretched forward even more. That is a 10-yard gain as Harris picks up the first down. Harris, way back when, scored the first touchdown of this game on a 23-yard pass from Nick Rolovich. 23 seconds into the game. That was a long time ago. That was many, many, many scores ago.
Yes,
and Shannon
it was.
has a right to smile. It's just been a terrific day. Again, these players not going to a bowl game. We talk about the bowl system. This is a team that will win 9 games this year and will not go to a bowl. They said this is their bowl game. They have the extra week to get ready for it. And boy, these guys, they have really, really executed this afternoon. Even though they've had a lot of penalties and turnovers, they're still whopping up. Another running play as Mitchell gets out into the open. Francisco makes the stop, but that's a 16-yard gain and another Hawaii first down.
Well, you might be asking about why June Jones was throwing just a minute ago. It's a pass offense. It's not even a pass offense. It is a pass offense. Line doing a good job. And by the way, that's a terrific, we've overlooked them some today, terrific offensive line. But that's the way the system is. You've got to throw it in this system. They're sprinkling in some runs.
And the Poi Pounders are big boys, averaging just under 307 pounds on the Hawaii offensive line, and about 280 for the defensive line of BYU. And those guys have been on the field quite a bit here in the second half. Rolovich completes it, and then it's dropped by Gerald Welch.
Fight in the middle of the field.
They are saying a completion and a fumble, and there is a scuffle around the 30-yard line. Mike Marquardt, with his helmet off, is in the middle of it for BYU. He's a freshman from San Marcos, California. As we see, again, more and more reserves playing for BYU.
Dead ball, personal foul on the offense. Dead ball, personal foul on the defense. They offset in second down.
So really nothing comes out of that play. As Rolovich, again, this is kind of unusual. He comes over quite often to talk, and right from the horse's mouth, so to speak, he gets the call from June Jones, and he says Jones tells him to look for certain things. So a lot of advice from the guy who knows it all.
The advice there must have been sprinkled with a little humor. Did you see the sly look, the smile?
Look at the total yards. Over 600 for Hawaii. It's 1,144 total. Man. Another handoff. Mitchell starting to take over here midway through the fourth quarter. Paul Walkenhorst in the ball game comes up and makes the stop.
Well, I think two things are going to come out of this game. I think that people are going to take notice of Hawaii, and that gives them momentum going into next year. You know, when you jump up and you score 70-some-odd points, which I think they will end up with that, people are going to look at you. The second thing is you better play better defense. Now, Hawaii has played reasonable defense today, but BYU needs to figure a few things out defensively.
And coming up in the next few seasons, they are going to play some powerhouses in college football as well. And that's one of the problems with them is they have the 104th strongest schedule, which is really the 13th weakest in the country, 104 out of 117. That is into the end zone for yet another touchdown for Nick Rolovich and Shannon Harris.
Is that 8? touchdown.
That is
passes.
8 touchdown passes today for Nick Rolovich, and that's a new record. No one has ever scored this many points against a BYU team in the history of Cougar football.
I'm happy for Rolo, but Rolo, go take a seat. Rolo doesn't need to play anymore today.
And that is also, Dean, a Hawaii record. The most points they'd scored until today was 67 against Utah back in 1989. They have 71 today. Remember, BYU scored 70 in its first game of the year against Tulane. Now they have it reversed on them.
And guess what we have here? So consistent with today, we have a taunting.
Another celebration penalty. So Justin Ayotte, remember he hit one from 50 earlier.
I've never seen one.
A 50-yard extra point.
Yeah.
This one is from 35 yards out. And Ayotte gets it. 72-38. And Nick Rolovich, school records 543 yards and 8 touchdowns, breaking his own school record of 7 touchdowns that he had done earlier this year against Miami of Ohio. Remember the last time they played a ranked team, Fresno State, October 26th, fourth quarter, Warriors down 34-31. David Carr is sacked, and the ball is recovered. 18 seconds left. Rolovich to Ashley Lelie, and that's one of the best catches you will ever see. Hawaii wins it 38-34. Wow. Just the body control of Lelie, the hands, the vertical leap. Shannon Harris has had himself a pretty darn good football game as well. 3 touchdown catches for Shannon. In the last 3 games, this is getting sick now for Rolovich. Almost 1,500 yards in the last 3.
Defense is bad. That is a good season. Defenses are bad. His play is terrific, and the system is terrific, and his receivers are terrific. You're going to be hearing a lot about Ashley Lelie. He's a junior. My guess is that he will come out. If he's not a first-round pick, he and his coach say that he shouldn't come out or probably won't come out. But you get a middle-round pick in the NFL in the first round, you're going to make, what, a $7 million
about that
signing bonus?
And Lelie is, when we did talk to him yesterday, Ashley said that he was going to not talk about it or even think about it until after this BYU game. His dad, Renee, living now in South Carolina, he's a military kid who moved around quite a bit, did Ashley, and he decided to stay in Hawaii. And for the 3rd time today, Justin Ayotte has kicked a kickoff out of bounds. But quite a decision to make. As Lelie has had a spectacular junior season. He's doing quite well in school and would like to get his degree, and actually a very humble guy. When you talk to him, you're not going to see the Randy Moss kind of showboating that you see with some guys, and quite humble, especially for a guy with his talent.
Yeah, bright guy, nice, humble, can
talented.
Play. Now don't give us too much noise there. We're talking about humility.
It's just, talking to the camera.
Sure.
And one thing I noticed when we were talking with Ashley yesterday, the size of his hands.
Right.
I mean, they're like clubs. The kid, he's just been blessed with a great athletic ability, a good head on his shoulders, as that pass from Mortensen to Need is incomplete. And we want to correct Rolovich's numbers. Obviously, when you have 3 straight 500-yard passing games, you're going to have more than 1,498, whatever the graphic showed you before. So we will correct that number because, our numbers guys back there are working overtime, because this is a lot of numbers. There you go. 1,548 yards in the last 3 games, 19 touchdowns and only 3 picks.
I can't talk about it anymore. I've run out of things to say.
Yeah, superlatives kind of don't do him justice. That's a nice catch by Rod Wilkerson. And you talk about the NFL for Ashley Lelie, who's got to be a deadlock to be drafted, whether it's this year or next year, depending on his decision. Nick Rolovich is a guy who has come out of nowhere. And of course, June Jones, who played in the NFL and coached in the NFL, says that Rolovich is at least going to get a look now. And you can't ignore a guy who has finished a career the way he has done it. Even though some people say, well, it's a run and shoot, and sometimes the numbers are padded, he's had a terrific season.
Well, you know, the answer to the run and shoot question in today's run and shoot is that you have to be really smart to understand it. June Jones will teach a quarterback to do what you have to do in the NFL. So he's smart, he's talented, and yes, I think he gets drafted. If he doesn't, I think he will certainly have a chance to go make a team. I thought what was interesting yesterday in talking to June was he was talking about it taking a while for some quarterbacks to learn the system. And he said when he was a head coach and had, what was it, Warren Moon and Jim Kelly?
Yep.
He was astounded that they would get so deep into a season that they would come to him and say, Coach, I'm just not getting it. I'm getting it. He's going, we're paying millions to these guys. They're just not getting it.
Flags are down as Peterson takes off. And the thing with Warren Moon was he said it to him in the last game of the regular season. He says, you know, Coach, I'm getting it. It's clicking now. And you're right. It is not an easy thing to do. And Rolovich, you know, he said the same thing with him. And again, to his credit, he said he didn't put in the work he needed to last year. He only had 3 weeks to prepare, as we get another call from Frank White, holding against BYU. And he said all of a sudden it's almost like just something just clicks in your brain. And he and Lelie, we saw it earlier in the game when he gave him the no-look thumb to his left. And, I mean, you just get on the same page, and all of a sudden it's just beautiful.
Right. The light clicks on, and light goes off, and then you just understand it. Part of that, though, part of the success, Pam, is that the receivers also understand what's happening, and that same learning process happened with the receivers here.
Rolovich,
it's not simple. I mean, you've got to read the corners. You've got to know where the safeties are coming because you change your routes based on that, and the quarterback has to know what you're thinking as well.
And Rolovich is 6'2", 200, by the way, so he has good size as Stearns catches that pass and gets into Hawaii territory. So we're inside 6 minutes now with Hawaii leading by a lot. 72 points, a new record for Hawaii. On second down, Peterson back in at quarterback. That one is incomplete as he was looking for Toby Christensen over the middle. Third and 6 now. Peterson finding Mahe, who breaks several tackles and then finally is brought down by about a half a dozen black shirts. Mahe's got to be one tired puppy.
The tackles he broke cost him a first down.
As they tried to get more.
There are a lot of tired people. I'm trying to check with Tony to see how many total plays from BYU. It's well over 100. Oh, it isn't well over. It's 101. The average is 71.
4th and 3. He gets Mahe. Nice stutter step.
That's a great move.
And he gets a first down.
Stop and let the defender fly by you.
So it is a first down for the Cougars, who, again, will be playing in the Liberty Bowl against Louisville the end of this month down in Memphis.
You know, the marathon that's coming up with a lot of the people over at our hotel, I sort of feel like that right now. It's been great. It's been fun. A lot more fun than it would be running.
Yeah.
But it's been a while.
Thank you very much, Reese. Records being set all over the place. Hawaii has never scored this many points before, and BYU has never given up this many points before, and the game goes on. But, of course, the most crucial thing here is that BYU's undefeated season is now over.
Well, it's over in just an emphatic way. It wasn't even close. Luke Staley not here. You know, he would have helped a little bit. No way he would have been the difference in the game. BYU defensively is just not there. They are not fast. The three linebackers are big and strong, not fast enough to keep up with these little guys, and the secondary didn't play that well today.
Peterson, the quarterback, finds his receiver. That is Toby Christensen, who is tackled just short of the goal line. This BYU season, as you take a look at it, lots of W's until today against Hawaii. The only question is the score. And again, the last three games, Mississippi State, Utah, and Wyoming, they escaped with victories in all three cases. And today it kind of finally caught up to them against a very talented Hawaii team, especially offensively.
Well, they had some trouble with UNLV and New Mexico, and I think that kind of gave an indication that some teams could jump up and bite them. But it didn't happen until now. You know, the question I have is, what about this club here? Hawaii, how good are they? Will they get enough recognition next year to start in the top 25?
Ned Stern scoring there, that touchdown. Of course, they will lose Nick Rolovich, who is a senior. Rolo's handing out some newspapers down there. He's a paper boy.
Yeah, but they have a quarterback.
Warriors whip BYU. You see it? That's what the headline says, and Rolo's handing them out. He has 8 touchdown passes today, and we are going to show you all 8 of them right after this kick. He has been a busy guy. Got a couple other touchdowns on Chad Owens with a kickoff return and a punt return for a touchdown, as the extra point by Payne is good. Here are all 8 of Rolovich's touchdown passes from today. Started off early, about 30 seconds in, Shannon Harris. Then Ashley Lelie. 2 to Tafiti Uso, another great senior. And this is the second one as Uso takes it in. How about Craig Stutzmann, the senior who got kicked out after gross celebration. More Ashley Lelie, the defender fell down, and that's 80 yards and a score. And then finally,
wow,
Shannon Harris, and we're not finished. As an aperitif, Shannon Harris scores again. Unbelievable day, an unbelievable finish to his season. 3 straight games in which Rolovich has thrown for over 500 yards, 543 yards today, and a school record 8 touchdowns. Hawaii, very impressive. BYU's undefeated season. It's over in a matter of seconds. Let's go back to Reese. As far as Hawaii is concerned, season high 627 total yards. Chad Owens, most of those return yards. School record 72 points and 7 sacks. As BYU has given up 12 sacks now in its last 2 games. They had 5 against Mississippi State and a close miss last week. And on that onside kick, there was a battle for the football.
I thought BYU caught it. Unless he was, yeah, they did.
Mike Simcoe was down there.
Perfectly executed. I've wondered a lot why that isn't tried more versus the squibber. That one was kicked up high, and BYU just got under it and caught it.
And everybody who came here, I mean, we expected a lot of points, Dean, and certainly have not been disappointed in this game. There has been some sloppiness, quite a few penalties. I mean, this game is now about 4 hours and 20 minutes old. And Gary Croton, and this is a tough place to play anyway, Dean. You come, as we listen to Frank White.
Didn't have the opportunity to catch the ball. 5-yard penalty to the spot. First down.
So Hawaii will get the ball because of that penalty. Not enough room for the receiver to catch it. I mean, you come here, you're 5,000 miles from the East Coast. It's about a 5-hour plane trip from California. It's paradise. Weather's beautiful. You know, you hang out, everybody's cool and laid back. It's a tough place to play, isn't it?
Sure it is. Sure it is. The humidity issue, just everything about it. This is such a home field advantage. Normally, home field advantage is worth about 3 or maybe 4 points. Over here, it's worth a touchdown.
We have a new quarterback, Jared Flint, the senior from Irvine, California, has checked in. And one thing to note, too, Timmy Chang, who did hurt his wrist in the 4th game, has not played since, and now can apply for a medical red shirt and come back next year as a sophomore with 3 years of eligibility remaining, which is huge.
Well, he ran this offense in high school. His numbers were, I mean, all we're doing is talking about unbelievable numbers, but his were in high school. He was the National Player of the Year in America by one group, so he'll have a chance to pick up where he left off.
June Jones told us that in his senior year of high school, Timmy Chang threw 81 touchdown passes at St. Louis High School, and he played with Craig Stutzmann, the senior who was thrown out of the game earlier today, as Mike Bass gets the carry. And, boy, a great combination. Let's go down to Heather Cox on the sidelines.
Well, a little levity from the sidelines. You saw the scuffle between the UH players and the BYU cheerleaders. Well, 2 of those cheerleaders are down, both icing their legs, and no, they will not return to action today. And BYU Athletic Director Val Hale warned the cheerleaders that if they taunt the Hawaii players anymore, they will not get to travel to the Liberty Bowl.
Wow, that's a way to step in there for the athletic director. And you know they want to go to the Liberty Bowl, but they're all right. They're getting iced.
Well, I thought they were. I thought she was going to say the athletic director told them that they wouldn't be able to travel home, which is kind of good and bad.
That's, you know, that's not a bad consolation prize, is it? Now it's, so I guess they are. If they keep their mouth shut, then, you know, and behave the rest of the day, then they will be. Definitely probable, if not more so, upgraded for that Liberty Bowl game. And we are glad to see that they were not hurt, because there were all sorts of big guys flying over there. Hawaii has scored 72 points in 18 minutes and 36 seconds. Dean.
Time of possession doesn't matter. We've said that all year long. We've said turnovers were big. I'm looking back on some storylines that I had written down, and the first note I had is turnovers, which is the case in most games, but this one may be more important. And turnover battle goes to Hawaii.
And the game itself, of course, will go to Hawaii. 52 plays they ran in that 1836, scoring 72 points, 636 turnovers, or 636 yards and 5 turnovers. It just seemed like that many turnovers, and they are, June Jones is starting to clear the bench a little bit. He got his scoring record and called off the dogs finally here in the 4th quarter.
Pam, I think what needs to happen, maybe at both of these schools, is when those coaches bring in recruits and they get around and start talking about who's going to play what position, maybe the defenses need to be able to select a few more of the athletes.
And these two teams will play each other next year in Provo. That should be fun. Well, they haven't played each other since 1998. This will break a string of 6 consecutive Cougars wins in this series. Interesting, in Provo, BYU is 7-0. Here in Honolulu, they will drop to 11-8 in this series. So Gary Croton going to go back to the mainland, where there's a lot of snow on the ground in Utah, about a foot or so. It's about 23 degrees. Here it's not 23 degrees. It's about 50 degrees warmer than that.
If we don't get out to that beach pretty quickly, it's going to be cold, though.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
It'll go down to a chilly 70 tonight.
Yeah, I wonder what people at home are thinking.
Good thing we don't know about that. Tui Ala now is in for, and that's his 2nd carry here in the 4th quarter. Colby Buckwalt coming up with a stop. So BYU will conclude its regular season at 12-1. Hawaii will finish up at 9-3. Very, very impressive showing for the Warriors. And, you know, if Ashley Lelie is back next year, he and Timmy Chang will no doubt hook up, and they will be a great team to watch again next year. And June Jones has really pulled this program back up.
Well, they have terrific offensive linemen. We didn't get into that, but we can tell you in short that he says one of them is the best that he has ever coached. He says that 4 of the 5 will play in the NFL. He says he's bringing in a running back, perhaps, that is lights out.
Vince Manawai is the senior who concludes his career. He's the guy that a lot of people love for the NFL. Manly Kanoa, the other guard, is going to be going to the East-West Shrine game, representing Hawaii in that all-star game. Hugs all the way around in a game that featured 117 combined points and 1,261 combined total yards. 4 hours and 25 minutes after we started, we're about to stop. BYU's undefeated season is over. Hawaii wins 72-45. On a day when many records fell, Nick Rolovich, 8 touchdown passes. What a way for the senior to go out in front of a lot of family who made the trip from California. The most points ever scored by Hawaii, 72, and the most points ever given up by BYU, also 72. So Hawaii wins at 72-45. For Dean Blevins, Heather Cox, I am Pam Ward. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Chad Owens, what a day for him. A 100-yard kickoff return, a 74-yard punt return for touchdowns. For more, you can log on to ESPN.com. Your home for college football on the internet. We're all ready for the bowl season. Hawaii wins big. Aloha from Honolulu.
Nick Rolovich had a good season in one game, threw for 543 yards and 8 scores as Hawaii just lit up BYU. Rainbow Warriors ended the Cougars' bid for a perfect season and scored the most points ever against a BYU defense. With a recap, here's David Lloyd with the SportsCenter replay.
Some angst between the mascots. Gary Croton getting his Chargers whipped up.
One drive, one play, boom, every time. I say right down the field. Don't worry about the scoreboard.
Those fiery pep talks lose some of their sting when you're wearing a lei. This was the Nick Rolovich story. To Shannon Harris for 23, the first touchdown pass of the game. We interrupt the Nick Rolovich story for the Chad Owens story. Takes the kickoff and goes coast to coast, sea to shining sea. He also took a punt back 74 yards for a score and set an NCAA record for return yards with 342. The freshman having a large game. Back to Rolovich. Hooking up with Ashley Lelie. Hawaii up 31-10. Rolovich, here's number 3, Tafiti Uso. The Warriors 38-10, 3 touchdown passes for Rolovich, and then he hooks up with Uso again. Hawaii up 45-17, 4 touchdown passes for Rolovich. There's number 5 to Greg Stutzmann. Stutzmann kicked the ball and then got kicked out for excessive celebration. We go back to Rolovich for Lelie. Lelie, 8 catches for 262 yards.
Someone should cover him.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. 6 touchdown passes. Do I hear 7? I see 7. And then later, BYU QB Charlie Peterson gets run out of bounds. They crash into the cheerleaders, and a lot of pent-up anger from those male cheerleaders. They've been made fun of too long. You got a calf injury here. Get some ice on her, get her back in the football game. Where were we on Rolovich? Oh, yeah, 7 and counting. There's number 8. BYU rolls it up on, or BYU gets rolled up by Hawaii, 72-45. Hawaii's numbers sound like an Arena League team.
The Cougars will now play Louisville in the Liberty Bowl on December 31st, and that wraps up another classic replay. Coming up next, it's Unscripted with Chris Connolly, and be sure and tune in tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern on ESPN Classic for our Game of the Night, the 1987 ACC Tournament Final between North Carolina and North Carolina State. Thanks for watching. I'm Trey Wingo.